because, man, this year I haven't used the studio that much. Like, it's been a lot more road trips and stuff, like doing podcasts. And like, I had to come up here and disinfect this thing before you got here today. Like, spray, glass cleaner all the tables and surfaces just to get the dust down.
I don't even want to ask.
I mean, nothing nasty has taken place, but it's just, like this has been a weird year. Not bad by any means, but not at all predictable.
Do you like doing podcasts on the road or?
Man, there's joys to both, right? There's something simplistic and comfortable about doing it right here. There's something interesting and like I'm also in someone else's environment. I think sometimes when you're in their environment, they open up more, but I don't know. I think it's just fun to do regardless, but it does get kind of, like I used to do it so much in here, like almost once a week, twice a week, that now I feel what guests feel like when they come sit in here and they're like a little like, oh man, like the cameras are on, the lights are on, now it's going. Yeah. Like I get it now because I feel it right now.
I didn't even realize we started.
Yeah. Well,
I'm kidding.
No, but I'm glad that we were able to finally get in here and do it together. We always end up having like long drunken podcasts at any other place. Everything from building bikes to YouTube to music, whatever the fuck's going on.
Now we just got to do it with the cameras on.
Yeah. So this might be a bomb. We'll see. We got the juice. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. You were drinking that Saturday, weren't you?
This is the greatest beer known to man.
Nice.
Full stop. My
Pale
perspective.
Ale. I'll try it before the end of the night. So I was trying to watch my figure.
Yeah. That'll help.
Yeah.
Not really.
It helps. It's placebo effect, dude.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's not helping. Espresso martinis and old fashions are not helping.
I'm not going to lie, dude. I had a bit of a hangover.
For real?
Sunday morning at your birthday party. It was probably one espresso martinis.
Yeah. You started with beer, though.
It's an unfortunate talent. I can drink anything, mix it all up, and I'll be fine. But I had to take some aspirin like a little bitch the next morning. Just wake up and start walking around didn't really work out for me.
Yeah. I was a little off. I felt like a little clumsy.
I think what sent me over the edge in terms of, how I felt the next morning was trying to keep up with Matt and all those Guinnesses. He'd order a Guinness, and then before you can even put the glass to your lips.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He's already finished half of it.
Dude, he was down in Guinness. Like they were Irish car bombs is basically.
And I normally don't do that anymore, like try and keep pace with anybody, but I had these 23-year-old vibes where I felt like I had to keep up with Matt.
Man, so that night started off with espresso martini, I think, or an old fashioned. I think I had 2 or 3. I can't remember.
I think you had a couple old fashions.
I had plenty of those. I had a bunch of those. But when the Guinness thing hit, when it was like, let's do Guinness, I feel like everybody else's enthusiasm went through the roof. So I was like even more excited about it.
Well, I love Guinness. Guinness is a good party trick. For the people who don't know, they think it's like a power move, right? Like it's thick and it's heavy and all this other stuff. It has less calories compared to Bud Light per ounce. Damn. And it's only like 4% alcohol. So, and it's kind of like a base, right? It's not super acidic, so you don't feel like, and there's no carbonation.
Yeah.
So you don't get like bloated. It's actually like a cheat move, if you ask me. I used to do that back in the day, especially when out with all the boys and it's beers and shots, Guinness all the way. That's what you want.
I didn't know that. I know it's a thicker beer. But man, there's just something about it, like, when it starts to cool off a little bit, like it's like the male version of the pumpkin spice. As soon as you see a leaf hit the ground, it's just like you grab the flannel and you go get a Guinness. You know what I mean? I don't know. I love it.
I see what you're saying.
It's not a summer beer though.
I'm with it. No, no, it's not.
Oh man, it's a good one though. But yeah, you lived a lot of lives. I feel like
I have, and I've just closed a life and trying to open up another. So
yeah, what's that like starting over?
I'm 38 now, and it sucks more. It's easier when you're in your 20s.
Yeah,
like but now you have more responsibilities, I think it's really like ignorance is bliss, right? And so the more you know, the more it seems daunting to, I got to start something over again and all this other stuff. So kind of sucks, but you can do anything, really.
Yeah.
Like, you're still going to wake up tomorrow,
Yeah.
not in any danger.
Yeah.
So trying to look at it like that and just try and do something every day. So I'm trying a bunch of new stuff. I'm currently still unemployed. Finally started the job search.
Yeah.
Which is another. So it's like trying to do a new thing and a new thing and a new thing, and then trying to find a whole new thing to support all those new things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of compounding right now, but I have lived a lot of lives and pulled a lot of shit out of my ass that I had no business attempting or doing, but did it. And it all went off successfully. So there shouldn't be any difference this time around. Plus, you know, the opposite to ignorance is bliss, like experience and knowledge actually take you faster and further.
I feel like the idea of starting over, it's something that like I wouldn't say fantasize about it, but there is aspects of it where like starting over now is almost like in general, like you might think about it in two different ways. Like, okay, it could be bad because you're having to start over, but you're starting over with all these skills, knowledge, network, you know, perspective and all this stuff. So wherever you're going to go, you can apply a lot more valuable things to it to progress further. You know what I mean?
I do. You said two separate things, and I already had two separate things in my head.
Yeah.
When you say, you know, start out overall new, it's one thing when you can cut all your bait, drop all your sandbags and start over new. But when you got to carry all that shit with you, it feels a little bit more
it's heavier.
Arduous.
That's what I was going to say, that like the scare, like the things about the thought processes I've had about wanting to start over in certain aspects is thinking about, well, I'm kind of trapped in certain areas that I can't just like say, okay, I don't care about this anymore and I'm going to go this way. It's kind of like I have to find a way to reinvent myself or find inspiration or build over here, but while still maintaining this fire over here.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
double duty.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's like I said, it's a thing that I'm actually, you know, I feel like I'm doing it constantly though. Like I feel like the last 2 years of my life, I've constantly had to reevaluate and pivot. Maybe not so much that people would have noticed on the outside, but it's been a lot of that like internally around here. You know what I mean? Like trying to figure out, you know, testing the wind, seeing how things are going and trying to decide if I need to spend more time in the paint shop or in the podcast room or in the YouTube space, or, you know, is there a way to build bikes and make money? You know, like,
no,
there's a lot of, yeah, I know, right? There's just a lot, man. There's a lot of possibilities. Or do I need to go see if AutoZone is hiring? You know,
I think you're better than AutoZone. Maybe O'Reilly's.
O'Reilly's is like the Target of the part stores.
I feel like your affiliation with either one of those is whichever one's closer.
Yeah, it's convenience.
That's all that matters.
Well, along these lives that you live, where'd you pick up the skills to fabricate and to be able to do some of the things you're doing, like on these current builds you're doing?
It's just been a long kind of journey. I've said this in a couple other podcasts or things here, so I don't want to like tell the same story, but I'll like fast forward through all that. I started really young, like the passion for motors and wheels, and I kind of distill it down to that meta description, motors and wheels.
Yeah. Started
very, very young. And it's kind of funny because I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't grow up on my dad's gas tank.
Yeah.
Or in an auto body shop or anything like that. I don't know. It started young, like 5 or 6, like started building go-karts out of wood. And, you know, I grew up in the suburbs outside of New York City. So, you know, my parents and the neighbors are dismayed by the sounds of the skill saw going off and like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, a child.
But it just started there, and then, you know, like a highlight of that early stage is I begged and begged and begged and convinced my dad to buy me a welder at 12.
Damn.
And started, because I was like, well, I got to take the next step and I want to put motors on these things. So it's got to be metal. So I have to learn how to weld.
Yeah.
And luckily, like I had the internet and a computer in my house early. Pretty fortunate. Hide the fact that I kind of had a bit of a silver spoon. Had to work for everything. God bless my parents for that. Had to do it all myself. But
what was it? Where were you using the internet? Like what kind of information?
I was just trying to remember where I was going with that. Thanks for that. But I started learning and finding stuff on the internet.
Yeah, because it was more forum-based early days of internet.
It was very, very sparse, but like it was better than, I don't know, going to the library. And I didn't have it. I was 12 years old, or even younger at that age. Like I learned what welding was on the internet. Yeah. Actually, my dad's a bit of a airplane nerd. And one summer we did a road trip out to Oshkosh where they have the big EAA air show. And Lincoln was there with a setup, like you can actually use the welder. So I just like did the thing and then went and got back online. Oh, shit. And then like started practicing there. And I forget if it must have been just before I conned him to get me a welder. Okay. Because that was the summer after 7th grade. So I would have been 12. And that's probably.
Would you start with the MIG?
Yeah. Weld Pack 100.
Nice.
It was flux core. And then I learned, flux core sucks. And so graduated from that. And then started getting close to, at 14, again, God bless my parents. My mom saw like what I was up to and she got me a job at an auto body shop. And I would show up after school on Fridays and then for the whole day on Saturday. And they paid me $10 a day. And I started with sweeping the floors, of course. Yeah. And then within a year, I was painting cars. Damn. Not like whole car. Like first of all, started to scuffing and then taping and prepping. And then obviously I had some other stuff to practice spraying on. And then I also started, this is when people started getting cell phones. Actually, like
some Nokia playing Snake on your phone kind of shit?
It was a Nokia. Yeah. I don't remember what number it was or whatever, but it was a funny thing. Like first, so I started high school in 2001. 9/11 was like my 3rd day of high school. Yeah. And so everybody entered high school without a cell phone. And within like 2 weeks, because 9/11 had happened or whatever, all of a sudden everybody had cell phones. And I was working at this auto body shop for a year at that point, and I was already painting. And the owner of the auto body shop's son was 21, and I was like 14. So he became like older brother, and he had painted his cell phone. I just got a cell phone. I want to paint mine, brought that to school, and everybody was like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I started a little business painting cell phones. I probably painted like 20 or 25, $25 a pop. So, it wasn't huge.
With today's inflation, that's probably like $50.
I mean, dude, like in high school, even freshman year, a night out cost $10. Yeah. $5 for a small little flask of SoCo and $5 for a spot on a cipher. So that was it. And it funded, if I did one a week, it funded my weekend and I had $5 left over. Yeah. So
into the savings. How far from the city were you whenever you were living there?
So I was born in Manhattan, and then when the second I'm the oldest of 3 boys, second boy was on the way, they're like, all right, we're gonna move to the suburbs. So we moved to New Rochelle, New York, which is one of the 4 cities that borders the Bronx to the north. So as closest to the city as you can be without being officially in the city. But tri-state area, they call it, just New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It's all like one big blob. But there were trees on my street and a separate house and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think I was telling you that I've been up there before in that area, and it's like hilly as hell. Like it's a lot more hills than I think of when I think of New York. I think my perception of New York and the whole area before I ever went there was just flat. Like I thought of it the way I see Dallas. Dallas is a grid as well, but it's it's kind of flat there. But then as I'm coming through, like coming through New Jersey, it's kind of hilliest, hills, mountainous, kind of not quite mountains, but hills.
I would call it rolling hills.
Yeah.
You know, it's still part of the Appalachian chain, but you're not in the like center ridge of the Appalachian Mountains.
But even like coming through Staten Island's like seems like it's way up there. You know what I mean?
It's like a big mound.
Yeah.
Like a landfill.
But I would say Long Island's pretty flat. You would say, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like a sandbar or some shit, huh?
Yeah, it's relatively flat. Like Manhattan, there's a couple like hills that you'll notice. And it's just like a slight grade in some streets, mainly the avenues going north and south.
Okay.
But relatively flat. Brooklyn, Queens, relatively flat. You have some hills. But once you get onto, so New York City is 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Staten Island, Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens. The Bronx is the only borough that's on the mainland. Everything else is on an island. Staten Island, Manhattan's an island, and Brooklyn and Queens are on the geographic formation of Long Island. But Long Island is Nassau and Suffolk County on the other end, and then Brooklyn and Queens are part of the city.
Yeah.
But once you get onto the mainland, there's topographical changes, and these roads are old, so they're squiggly and narrow, and make for good riding and driving.
Yeah,
as long as there's no traffic.
That's wild. Yeah, like I said, last summer was the first time I got the chance to be in that area, and I was pretty blown away by how hilly it was. One of my buddies' house I stayed at, like they had a fucking view, like a nice one, some shit you'd have in like the hills of LA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is pretty rad up here. You know, so
I like it. I went away to college after high school, obviously, and been back to New York, living and working like 6 or 7 or 8 times. I don't know how many times for like 3, 6, 9 month, 12-month stints.
Yeah.
But I never like moved back and stayed put for good. After I graduated college, I did like a 6 or 7 year stint of traveling. So I'd go back to work in New York, in New Rochelle, in my hometown, bartending. Always worked in restaurants, the bars at restaurants, and I had a good in with this restaurant group. They had 3 locations over the time that I spent with them, and I could be like, "Yo, you got to take me off the schedule for the next 6 months. I'm going, Italy, India, Thailand, somewhere."
It's like backpacking style stuff, or what?
Started out as backpacking. I did a semester abroad in college in Barcelona, then graduated, and then I went back to school. I went to design school in Florence, Italy for a year.
What was that like?
Fucking amazing. It was amazing.
Design school.
So, all right, so we're kind of jumping around in my timeline, but that's fine.
Well, where do you even get like, so you're painting in high school.
Okay, let's do
and
it
then
chronologically.
what changed or what sparked to want to be on the creative side of things and get into design? Or was it going to automotive style design or like tube and chassis type stuff?
So there was a pivot. I was building go-karts, welding little stuff, and getting into high school, like social life kind of took over a little bit, but I still had this like Friday, even through high school, Friday and Saturday I went, and even with a hangover on Saturday I went. And it's just something that I've always loved to do. And like I said before, I had very little access. And so access was king, and I wasn't going to lose that. And then 2 things happened in high school. One, family requirement. You have to go to college. I'm the oldest of 3 boys. I was never really a good student. But it was like family requirement. You got to set an example, all that other stuff. So it was like, well, I don't want to just go to college. Silly mistake. It's a lot of fun. Or it could be a lot of fun. But I found out about this program called Formula SAE, and it had already been going on for several years, like 25 years. And it's basically an intercollegiate competition for engineering students to conceptualize, design, build, and then compete in a formula-style open-wheel race car.
Damn.
And there's a rule book, hence the formula thing. SAE is the Society of Automotive Engineers, which, imperial size wrenches, they call it SAE. Sometimes I think that's kind of like an old thing now, but that's where that comes from. And the competition was in Detroit, so like you have sponsors from the big three and all that other stuff. But you got to build this race car, and like I said, there's a rule book. So lengths, widths, weights, minimums, maximums. You had a maximum displacement of 610 cc's. So the go-to was basically a 600 motorcycle engine.
Yeah.
I was on a team with very low budget, very humble. And of this, like I said, I wasn't a very good student. So for all the schools that I got into, I basically chose the school I wanted to go to based on how the team was. And these guys were just good old boys throwing shit together. And I was like, the other school I could have gone to, like, you had to sign in, there was a key card, and like you had to be a company. I was like, fuck that. These guys, like, I could see that there was beer in the corner and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna go with this one. And it was the furthest away from home, which I felt like I wanted to do. So that was in Norfolk, Virginia, which is, you're bordering on race country there.
Oh, yeah,
Drag strip nights and all this other stuff. So I went there, and I could already weld. And, you know, the seniors, it's like part of their senior design thesis type of thing. And it's broken up to chassis team, suspension team, aero team, engine team, all this other stuff. So all the seniors leading those teams, they're presenting it for their thesis, and they're basically designing that stuff. But, you know, somebody's got to put in the work and build all this stuff. And they were seniors. They wanted to really just kind of party and stuff. So they were like, you go for it. My name was New York at that time. So like, New York, you go build that. So I built the frame, I built the suspension, I built the gas tank, I built the exhaust, and I helped with the aero. Little bit of supervision, a little bit of help, but really, like, I was putting in all those copes, fit up, welding. And I knew how to weld, but I didn't know how to TIG weld when I first got there. I had never TIG welded before because I just didn't have access. So I spent the first week just laying down beads, and within a week, like, you generally understand the concept of, you know, the properties of metal, at least by sight and by feel. And so figured that out. And, you know, we did some tests, and there's a lab at the school so they could x-ray it and all this other stuff. And they're like, yeah, good enough. So
that's great. So you could actually see your penetration and things like that. Yeah.
And there was some good, some bad. But
the way we learn is we just see if it works on the road.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't want to lie. There was a lot of that. But there was some process, and so I did that, and it was kind of a long story, but got into TIFF with a teammate, and they did not invite me to competition that year, and that I was like, yo, I built this fucking car. And so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But one of the guys who started this program, he was several years older, he had went to work at a hot rod shop nearby. And long story with him, but the old timer that owned the hot rod shop was retiring, and this guy was able to buy the business from him on installments, like owner financing type of thing. And so he was like 27, 28 at the time. I was like 19 or 20. And basically quit the formula team and went to work there. Again, started sweeping little odd jobs, but they also had a media blasting pit, and that's what kept the lights on. That was like, you know, bread and butter, cash flow for them. So as much media blasting as I wanted to do, I could do. And, but I also had a key to the front door and let me work on my own projects as much as I wanted. So I had, and media blasting paid more than sweeping the floor. So I was like, I'll go fucking media blast. And it was like $25 an hour, which is huge at the time. That time,
it's like $50 an hour now.
And so I had cash flow, I had access, and that's where like the quantum leap happened. Rolling back a little bit earlier in high school, I was working in this auto body shop, already loved motors and wheels, and during this time was biker build off. And like I said, access was absolutely critical. Even just watching it was huge. And I think it was like a year earlier, I found a copy of Hot Rod magazine on a magazine shelf in a convenience store somewhere. And it was Jesse James's Dodge Viper on the cover, but in the background were all these frames. Like it was like in the showroom and had all the like some just frames, some with a motor and a tank on it, some complete bikes and all this other stuff. And I was just like, what is that? And then Biker Build Off came out right after that. I was like, I think I'm interested in bikes. And first week on the Formula team, one of the guys showed up with a Katana 600. Ooh. And he just saw me like staring at it. He was like, you ride? I was like, not really. He's like, do you want to ride? Yeah. He's like, why don't you go take it for a ride? Never ridden a motorcycle. I'd been on like little pit bikes or whatever happened to come around the neighborhood or something like that, but not a full-size bike. Yeah. And he just handed me his helmet and his keys, and I was off. And then I pulled back in, and I was like, yep. And
seems like everybody's first is like a Katana.
Yeah.
It's like the neighborhood fat girl that everybody got the finger or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely like that. And this thing was trashed. But
those things are so ugly, dude.
It was
probably one of the ugliest sport bikes ever.
It was missing bodywork, which made it look a little bit better.
Yeah. The fairings on that bike were just, God. I don't think that dude's still in the industry designing. Whoever designed that. Yeah, it's like the Pontiac Aztec or whatever the fuck. Y'all remember that? Is that what it was called? The Aztec. It's like, dude, you just missed the mark on all fronts.
So that happened, and I was like, I need a bike. I know, I'll build it. Yeah. And then Hot Rod Shop happened, and I had access to tools like no experience. And the guy, Aaron, he was just like, go for it. Mm-hmm. And eventually, slowly but surely, I got to put my hands on like shop projects, stuff that I really was underqualified to do. And I messed up very little. And, you know, he would keep me from
causing a problem.
Yeah, not like he wouldn't let me do stuff that he knew I didn't. But it was just kind of like, yeah, go for it. And so that is kind of the theme going forward is like, yeah, just go for it. And so that was a quantum leap at the Hot Rod Shop, and I spent an extra year in college. I just went slow. So I had like a solid 4 years there, and then the year after I spent some time there. So I was there for like 5 years. And it just kept going. Graduated college. Like I said, I was still there for like on and off for a year, and I could go back and work, and I could take 2 weeks off, go down there, knock out, you know, half of a project, and then rinse and repeat 2 months later or something like that. And then I also went on a big long travel, met a girl, fell in love, got kidnapped in Germany, and she was like, well, you have to stay, and you know, you need a visa, and the only way to do that is to go back to school. And I was like, I just did school. I don't want to go back to school just to go to school. But I was looking, and I found a couple of these design schools in Europe, and school is cheap in Europe. Yeah. So it was like 6,000 euros for a year in this design academy, which is just a certificate. It's not like super accredited or whatever. Yeah. But I kind of figured out, I was like, you know, travel, design, whatever, partying. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I just called it like a learning vacation. I still call it a learning vacation. So I did that and learned some CAD skills, basic stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when I was there, the GoPro 3 had just come out, and I bought one of those. And then I started recording a bunch of our, you know, little funny escapades all around Florence, Italy. Made a huge group of international friends. It was a lot of fun, and started making little videos. Yeah. And this was, I mean, YouTube was out, but there was no such thing as like a YouTuber at that time. Yeah. Instagram was literally, this was 2013 I was there, so it literally just came out. So like all this stuff was still quite new. And then I was like, I think I like this video thing, so I want to go do something more serious. How do I tie all these things together? Videos, travel, motorcycles, etc. And on a previous travel, I ended up in Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was literally like just flying around. There's it's still around, skyscanner.net. You can find the cheapest flights to anywhere, and they have a function for everywhere. So you can type in where you're at. And I got like a 41 euro ticket from Istanbul to Kathmandu, Nepal. And so I just bought the ticket and I went on Wiki Travel, which is like Wikipedia for traveling, and it'll give you like a quick download of what's going on anywhere. And
is there any, like, I haven't traveled internationally yet.
yeah,
We just got our passports this last year. Is there anything like when it goes to certain countries like that where you have to, I mean, can you just show up, be like, yo, I'm here? Is there some kind of like process to like
certain countries, yes, certain countries, no.
Okay.
So in Europe, for an American, you have a visa waiver, which basically means you don't need a visa to go. Since COVID, there's a couple other little things, and with technology, they want you to like input all of your stuff. But generally, anywhere in Europe, you don't need. In the UK, you don't need. And there's a handful of countries that you don't need. I would say probably half of the countries an American passport doesn't need.
Yeah.
Others, you need a visa, which you need to apply for beforehand. Others have visa on arrival, where basically you just turn up, they're going to have you fill some stuff out, they're going to take your photo, all that other stuff. But historically and to date, it's usually you can just rock up. And that's what it was, a visa on arrival in Nepal. And it's like $28 or whatever it was. Fill out this form and that's it. So I was there for a month, and one of the things that I immediately jumped out at me is like there's a bunch of Royal Enfields in Nepal, and I was like, Royal Enfield, what is that? Isn't that, because I had spent a lot of time on the Jockey Journal. Do you know what that was?
Yeah, there used to be a chopper form, right?
Yeah, it was like Chop Cult came after Jockey Journal, but Jockey Journal had a bunch of old curmudgeons on it, and they only wanted to talk about stuff doing it their way or whatever. Actually, the first bike I built was a full frame up build. I built the full frame, and the jig that I use now is the jig that I built for that frame.
Nice.
It has a little 2009 welded in it, so it's like 16 years old.
Sick.
But I built that frame and I put my whole post up there, and they took it down immediately. Like, no offense, good job on the build, but we only do American and British stuff here. I was like, oh, but I hadn't really paid attention because I was just lurking on the forum, and so I learned a bunch of stuff there. Again, access, just trying to find, trying to learn, trying to do, trying to build, and it was just a lot of that for a long time. And so back to Nepal, I was like, Royal Enfield, isn't that English? There's a bunch of them in India. I guess there's some in Nepal. So I kind of made it a mission to go find one and rent one, get on one and ride it around. And I did. And I was actually in Pokhara, Nepal, which is like a place you start a lot of treks from. And I was doing a trek where you basically just walk into the mountains. You can walk to Everest Base Camp from there. I didn't do that one because it was kind of too long. But I did my trek, came back, ended up in Pokhara, Nepal, and I went and found an old mechanic who had these Royal Enfields and started talking with him and got a download on the whole history of Royal Enfield being in India, even though we're in Nepal. You know, it's kind of like a America-Canada type dynamic going on between the two. And just became fascinated. And then 2 years later, I went to design school, started making those videos, thought I liked that. And I was like, I think I want to make a documentary. I was like, what could I do to tie all my interests together? Because I was like 27 at the time, still behaving like I was 18. And so I was like, I'm going to go to India, make a documentary about this Royal Enfield story in India. Not the BBC style documentary about the English era, and at the time, Royal Enfield was just beginning I'd done a bunch of research. It was just beginning its rebuild, restructure, rebrand, all the stuff. And that was only 10, 11 years ago. Now Royal Enfield's a totally different thing. So it just started kind of innocent enough just stumbled upon it, kind of loved it. And in the context of India and Nepal, being on a Royal Enfield is pretty fucking cool. It's
like a perfect bike for the terrain and everything they got going on there.
It is. And that's why it's there. So I made that documentary single-handedly, self-funded. I ended up running a Kickstarter while I was there because I a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Raised a little bit of money. I interviewed the CEO of Royal Enfield, and then it was a field of dreams moment, like build it and they will come.
Yeah.
And so I just went, started meeting people, made a lot of friends, had a great fucking time. Rode in the Himalayas, rode all over the country. People lent me bikes. It's a funny thing about India, like very different from here. People don't just let you ride their bike. It's like, it's like the level of taking their wife out for dinner. It's like only if you really know them. There's like boundary.
It's a foot massage.
Right. In India, you meet somebody like, oh, very nice to meet you. Ride my bike.
Yeah.
What? But it was like that. And I just rode all types of bikes all over India. And it was a fucking blast. And there's nothing more exhilarating than riding fast in slow traffic, in the densest traffic. And there are cows and dogs and trucks and people crossing the road. It's gnarly, but it was a lot of fun.
Damn.
So then I did that. I came back and met a girl, moved to Chicago, got my own little workshop. It was the first time I ever had my own like workshop space and just started working on bikes again.
Started assembling some tools and getting some of your own shit.
Yeah, I mean, I still had my jig. I still had my welder, angle grinder.
Yeah.
What the fuck else do you need?
Yeah.
So first thing I built there was a 87 Ninja 250 where I wanted to build like a mini little track bike, full carbon fiber body. You can go look at that on the internet. What page is that? Pipeburn, I think. Built that. So like basically just subframe, exhaust, rerouting of wiring, different wheels, different front end, different rear shock. And then I molded the whole body kit myself. Repop, made a plug, made molds, laid up carbon fiber, came out pretty bitchin'. And then I had just gotten a Harley Roadster.
Yeah.
So I made carbon fiber fenders and a little windscreen and stretched the tank, little stuff, and built the exhaust and chain conversion, little stuff like that.
You seem like you would find you know the process of doing things, so you would just tackle it. Like, because I've also worked in a job when I was really young where we used to make plugs for molds essentially to do carbon fiber parts. I worked at a shop where we would take like the only project I ever worked on was a Scion TC when those first came out a long time ago. Is Scion still a thing? The car Scion?
I feel like they just folded it. I think they just folded it back into Toyota.
So when the Scion TC first came out, that was like their coupe, right? And at the time, there was this really, I think he's always been really famous in the drag racing world, but his name was Bob Norwood. And he used to build all these chassis and all this crazy shit. Well, what he was doing is he was taking a Scion TC and they were building a not a funny car, but like a drag car, like all out.
Just using the shell, basically.
Yeah. So basically what we had to do was take this factory car that was literally the car from the billboards, because everything inside of it was like the dash was fiberglass. It wasn't like the original. It wasn't like the thing they made. It was like the prototype car.
Right.
So we make a full plug of this whole car. Then we pull a mold off of it in regular fiberglass. And then we chop and stretch it. So we chop the top, stretch the hood, and then made another mold. And then that's the mold that we made carbon fiber out of. And it was like 2.5 months I was worked at this place. Every fucking day I left, my pants were matted from fiberglass all over it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this sucks. I'm not doing this no more. So
it's a disgusting process, but the result somehow
it's just a massive undertaking, you know?
Is.
And I mean, to do a bike part is a little bit more manageable, but a car. Like I got a buddy in NorCal that, Steve up there, they build fucking boats. like the ones that you see in Havasu and shit, and it's gnarly watching them do vacuum bags and stuff on that stuff.
Well, I agree with you on like you just go and learn the process, and if you have general dexterity, and you just it's a recipe. Like you can follow the recipe just like you can make fucking chicken parmesan or something. Right? So that is my approach, and you just go for it, and it takes long enough where you can realize if something's going wrong or right. And, you know, sometimes you got to get all the way to the end, realize I did it wrong, and then you go back and do it over again. But that's part of the process. But now there's so much more new tech that makes a lot of these things easier, like 3D printing. Yeah. Instead of, you know, using AB foam and pouring it into something or around a part and then sculpting and using body filler and all this other stuff. Yeah. If you can design in 3D, which I've been imploring everybody to do, it's much easier than you think. Yeah. You can start to create a shape, and then you can have it printed. You don't even have to have the printer. You can send it out somewhere. They'll ship it to you. Yeah. And then you're just doing, you know, finishing of that surface, and then you have your plug. Yeah. And it's 1-to-1 absolutely perfect. And it speeds up that whole process. Usually the plug is what takes the longest. Yeah. Sucks to make a mold, but if you really wanted to get crazy with it, you could probably just turn the 3D printed thing into, you could do the negative and make that your mold. So that's what I've been having fun with. You know, I never intended to do this like professionally or as like a main job. I was just building my own bikes for myself, and always excited on the next project to take the next step of whatever process it was. Yeah. And so now that I'm kind of, you know, we didn't get into the zoos thing, but since that's been done for a year now, I'm excited. And I just moved into a house that has a garage attached to the house, which is huge. You know, I have a dedicated workspace. It's only a 20 by 20, but it's plenty of space. And it's, you know, I could sit on the couch or I can go in the garage, and I think you know which one I probably do. Yeah. So.
Well, how did the Zeus bike thing come to be? Like, how did that even, like?
I'm gonna grab a beer.
Yeah. Grabbing one too. Yeah. Thank you.
So Zeus was a happy accident. Yeah. A lot of this stuff was just kind of naturally arrived, the impetus of an idea, and then went for it. And what created that was when I moved to Chicago. This was September 2016. Like a year after I got back from India, I just made the documentary, released it, and then I was like, well, what now? Mm-hmm. Anyway, moved to Chicago, met a girl, moved in with her. She was living downtown. I actually didn't move in with her. I rented a house or an apartment that had a detached garage, and then I subletted the apartment to other people.
And just use the garage.
And I got the garage for $150 a month.
Nice.
It's pretty good. And I was living downtown with her, and this garage was in Wicker Park, so it's still pretty central, 2.1 miles away. And we had a car, but if I was driving there at 5:45 on a Friday, it would take 45 minutes to go 2 miles. And I could get on the the subway, and that would take like 40 minutes. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. I should just ride a bicycle. Yeah. I don't want to ride a fucking bicycle. But at the time, I don't know, maybe the algorithm had just started at this time or something, but started seeing these electric bikes. And the interesting thing about them was that they had moved the motor to the wheel. This is called a hub motor. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, that's really interesting. If you think about the general anatomy of a motorcycle, you know, you have two wheels, one in front of the other, power plant in the middle. and all the geometry, the functionality, even of just having the gas tank on top of the motor is so that you can feed via gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we moved on to fuel injection, fuel pumps, and other stuff. Things like the Gold Wing and the VMAX have the tank under the seat and all that other stuff. But you know what I mean. But this changed the whole anatomy. And then, you know, one of the big kind of poster boy companies in the scene of the electric bike thing was Super 73. And they basically, at that time, this is early days, they had just come out. They had basically designed an electric bike with these components that looked like an old Sears mini bike, like a Coleman style mini bike, right? And I was like, oh, that's kind of rad, but I have this general, after doing this stuff so long and doing a lot of research, I can kind of look at something and tell you how it's going to ride. Like I have decent capability. I'm not a fucking John Britton or anything like that, crazy engineer, savant. But I can tell you what is right and wrong geometry. And I could tell that this was, while it was a cool concept, it was not right. But I had never ridden one. And so I actually went on Alibaba and started messaging people, the factories in China that produce the battery and the hub motor. And they're actually selling kits already. So I lied to them and I said that I was an electric bike company coming to market and that they should send me a bunch of parts to test. And they did. So I got the parts and I just wasn't sure of what the capability of those motors, batteries were. So I wanted to put it on like a test mule frame. So I got an old old BMX bike off of OfferUp for $20. And I had to widen the dropouts, the axle plates. In the bike world, they call them dropouts in the rear by like 15 millimeters. So I had to cut and stretch, essentially. I put it on my frame jig. And in 3 days, I had a functioning prototype, as I guess it was. And it was just fucking fun, man. It sounds so juvenile and so lame, but you know, like there's this thing where you have like levels of commitment and fun, and you can raise commitment and fun can come up, but if you can keep fun up high and drop commitment, it somehow like is a multiplier of the overall experience. And so I literally just finished this thing, got on it, rode it like 50 feet. I'm like, this thing's fucking awesome. So I went over to my friend's motorcycle shop and, you know, it's like a Friday night. And we just started doing hot laps around the building the whole night. I was like, this is fucking cool. And I actually have a video of all of that stuff. It was just, you know, recording people, like as one does on your phone. And everybody's like, build another one. And so I just started iterating. And then I was down at Hand Built Show MotoGP weekend, you know, a couple months later, and doing like a whole weekend trip. One of my friends was there. He brought one of his friends, and that guy is Pete, who was at the time the head of design at Skull Candy Headphones, also a motorcyclist, did some minor building of motorcycles and stuff like that. I mean, that's why we're at MotoGP and Hand Built Show. So we met, he saw my Instagram. He's like, what's this? Started telling him about it. I was like, version 2 is going to be done in like 2 weeks. So I did that. And then he was like, I'm going to send you $2,500. I want you to build me one. And then even before I started building it, he was like, dude, I think you're onto something. Look at these Super 73 dudes. And I think you can do it. I think. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about this world. Like you want me to start a company, manufacturing, all this other stuff. Do you want to be my partner? And we basically spit in our hands, shook on it. And then it was like 2 years from that point to launching. But we woodshedded it a little bit. We launched a Kickstarter, failed, but we got a lot of feedback. And then we woodshedded it again for another 11 months, launched a pre-sale. And it was on my birthday, January 22nd, 2020. and we had already like lined everything up with the factory. We had our orders ready to go, but we were launching a pre-sale to get the money from those pre-sales to pay the manufacturer to start production. So it was a bit of a parlay on that one.
Yeah.
And right as we're about to launch, they're like, we kind of have a little bit of a problem over here. It's January 2020.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, the American market doesn't care about your problem. Is this going to work or not? Thankfully, in retrospect, we decided to go for it. And then we got a bunch of pre-sale. Like, we sold 7 bikes in the first day. It's like $2,900 each. So like, we're making some money. And then in the first week, we sold 25. And we started going. We were only going to make 50. We did a limited drop. Because the e-bike thing was already kind of coming on. And then
wasn't that around the same time that Harley was coming out with their e-bike?
Yeah.
Like the bicycle versions or the younger ones? Yeah.
Yeah. Just a couple months after that, but the e-bike thing was coming on strong for a little bit. If we had started 2 years earlier, I think we would have been sitting even better.
Yeah.
But, we're just starting this out of my garage, basically.
Were you still in Chicago at the time?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so we did that. We took on another partner as based in Fort Worth, an old friend of mine that we had collaborated on some motorcycle stuff with, Royal Enfield stuff back to the India days.
Yeah.
And he had a warehouse, and I was like, hey man, I'm working on this project. Do you want to be in? And he was like, yeah, I'm in. So, we pooled some money up front of our own, not too much, but, as much as we could, each of us stomach.
Yeah.
And got the ball rolling. And looking back, man, I can't believe, like, you get a little bit older and you realize all the risks you've taken, and they all just kind of worked out. And now you feel a little bit I feel a little bit more risk averse, but just fucking went for it. And then COVID actually like arrived here, and everything, like, sales stopped, and we hadn't made enough money to whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we got to do something, because we don't have a bunch of marketing dollars. We can't run a bunch of ads on Facebook or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I had built this concept bike during the design evolution of zoos and the kind of general visual architecture of the bike. And I sent it out to a bunch of like design website, like web mags type of thing. And it kind of fucking blew up. Even though Pete was like, you can't release that. We're not selling that bike. You're going to confuse people. And I was like, well, we got to make like 25 grand in the next 10 days. What else? Yeah. So Hail Mary, and it fucking worked.
Yeah.
It went kind of semi-viral, not majorly viral, but like semi-viral. That, like, we sent it out to 2 places, and then like 20 other mags that just kind of regurgitate content from industry leaders picked it up. And 2 things happened. One, orders started rolling back in, and we upped the amount from 50 bikes to 100 bikes for this first like pre-sale / drop. And then I got contacted by this guy who's the curator of an exhibit that's been going on for like 25 years, and every 2-3 years they pop up at a different gallery of modern art. So it's like been at the Guggenheim in New York twice. It's been at the Guggenheim in Bilbao once. And this one was going to be at Kagoma, Queensland, Australia, Gallery of Modern Art. And it's the exhibit is called The Motorcycle, Design, Art, Desire. And each installation, each couple of years, they have like a different theme. And this one was going to be a look back at the previous 125 years of motorcycling history, breaking it up into eras or chapters, and showcasing the best of each chapter. I was like, I think you may have made a mistake. You're calling me for this concept bike that I built. And they're like, nope, you're the bike I want, because this was the latest chapter, is like the coming of EV and all this other stuff. And there's not too many examples. Brian Fuller had a bike in there, a few others, and my bike. And that shit's hung on my wall in my garage right now. So that was pretty rad. It was a fucking roller coaster, man. And we took off like a bottle rocket, and then macroeconomic bullshit. 2023, a few things happened. We were going to raise money. We waited too long. Investment opportunities dried up. 2021 and 2022 were pretty bonkers years. People were spending all types of money because of COVID checks, people being at home, not, just all economic behavior was strange.
Like people still made money, but they didn't have to spend as much money every day on like commuting and
exactly,
going out to eat every day.
All of these things created a very different economic behavior for like the whole country and the whole world. And then the Chinese factories but they started going direct to consumer. So they started making their own bikes. And then all of a sudden there was what's called a glut in the market, just oversupply. And so then all the prices have to come down. And to be able to compete, you have to bring your price down, took away all our margins. And then all of a sudden we found ourselves in a economic unsolvable equation. And so we ended up selling to the factory last year, basically just offloaded the thing.
Yeah.
Most of the guys are still with them, still working for Zeus and the brand for the Chinese factory. And I could have stayed and I decided not to. So here I am figuring out what the next chapter will be.
Putting in resumes. Yeah. But
I'm working on my resume a lot these days.
I've seen that, like, that's kind of been a very common problem in everything. Like, once you've had any kind of product being developed overseas in China, then they just have access to it, and they don't have the same laws as we have here.
It's a problem.
It is. And I mean, but here's the other unfortunate thing. It's like, because they decide to build the bikes, right, for this market over here, it completely just tanks y'all's because you can't keep up. You can't produce it for the price that they can. Mm-hmm. And consumers are like,
the price we're paying to get the product is what sustains their factory.
Yeah.
And we need to pay for advertising. We need to pay for warehousing, shipping, all the things. And there was just nothing left on the bone at the end of it. And the sea comes creeping in.
Yeah. It's just, it's crazy that, like, a lot of people in America just don't understand that's how these economies work, and they fold because of, like, you don't really have the ability to go there, right?
Yeah.
When you have someone that's like that has a CNC in their garage or is making one-off things, it's like you want to do it at a small enough scale not to like tip the Chinese folks over there to be like, oh, we need to make some of those parts because those are hot right now, and then just undercut you on your own fucking designs.
And they can turn it around like this. I mean, it's a massive problem for us here on this side. And I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. You go over there and I've been over there once because I couldn't go because of COVID and lockdown. I ended up going in June of 2023, first and only time. And their ability to make stuff, dude, it's just one factory after another, and massive rooms full of CNC dudes, and that they can make anything.
A close friend of mine, this is kind of off topic, but kind of in the same realm of things. A close friend of mine that deals a lot with that side of the world, or that side of the motorcycle industry, of like, having things built over there. They talked about how, like, if you have brands here that are hiking up their prices due to air quotes tariffs, that they're full of shit, right? Because most, like, say this brand sells something for $500, right? Well, they're getting it made for $80, $60 over there. So $60 is all you're paying the tariff on. You're not paying the tariff on $500 of the item, right? You're paying.
Yes, you're right, but it really comes down to the numbers of what that product is.
Okay, so are they having a different tariff for, like,
and
isn't it just based on
various stages of the value add, and when you get, so you have what it costs to make, and then shipping, and then what do they call it, like, once it arrives at the port and getting here, and once it's, I'm talking in very basic, like, economic levels. When you start piling on costs at the beginning of that chain, it cascades all the way down.
Okay.
So it's not as simple as $500 part, $80 to make it, 25% tariff on 80 is $20. So it's $100, and they'd still have 400 to play with instead of 420. It can depend. It depends on what the part really is. And it also depends on, like, if you're selling a product for $500, the cost to make it at $80 isn't your total cost, like your net margin.
Yeah.
Or
you have all the other aspects of like
all types of other things. But also, if you're selling something for $500 and your cost is $80, you're probably at a huge scale. And because you can get these things,
you're having so much made that you're able to get it at that price.
But even if you're producing 1,000 of the thing, that's not enough scale to bring the cost of manufacture all the way down.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
It happens at 10,000s or 100,000s or millions of those items.
That's what I'm saying. That's where that's kind of the culprit in question.
And China has that capacity
to
produce in the 100,000s of an item.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even blink.
So it just kind of like, yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just, it's kind of like, I would get people ask me a lot if I want, like, why don't you sell parts? Like, why don't you have like a Fast Life Garage, risers or whatever? And I'm like, man, it's the scariest business to get into, man. Like,
inventory is the devil.
Yeah. And
ask a shop if they want to produce T-shirts to sell on their behalf. And the ones that do, they look at the cost and they realize, oh, I got to sink $10,000 into inventory for T-shirts because I have 3 colorways with 2 different color graphics and I need 6 different sizes. That scales up very quickly, and you're going to spend a couple $100,000. And what happens if you only sell 10?
Yeah, and you're going to sit on quite a bit.
That's why you have companies that collab with other companies, and they won't have their own line, but they'll have another company put their name on there for them.
Yeah. Well, some of the things that people have been going out is like getting the print on demand stuff, but I feel like the quality, and I'm talking out of my ass, I don't know for sure. I don't have one sitting right here go, this is good or this is bad. But I felt like in the past when I saw the print on demand, the quality wasn't there. And to me, in this day and age where most of the people they're opening a box to receive a product for the first time, as opposed to walking into an establishment and pulling it off a shelf. Like, I want when they open that box to be the same way they feel when they walk in the store and see it on the shelf. Like, it needs to be like, yes, hell yeah, I'm so stoked.
You're 100% right. Everybody expects that. And with print on demand, you're not going to get that. Like, the quality is decent. Would you put the shirt on? If you don't have, super high bar for fashion or how every single, you have some, like, I don't know, whatever you call them, tastemakers or something.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be my clothes designer,
Yeah.
It's not going to work for them, but like, I'm just a jean and t-shirt guy.
Same.
It would work for me. And I don't do unboxings. I just open the box and I use whatever is in it. So it depends. And I would say like the print on demand thing is a viable thing if you're testing the waters.
Bring the mic to you.
Sorry.
Just take it with you wherever you go. There you go.
But again, if that's not what if you're trying to produce excellence, then you gotta.
Well, see, that's right there. That's the point. You're trying, like, deciding what kind of brand you want to be. I know it's more profitable to just figure out how to move things.
Yeah.
The more sales that are coming through the website every day or whatever, then the more money you make. But man, like, it's hard. It's very hard to like care about the user experience, maybe dare I say integrity of your own brand, to just like push things out of your shop for profit, and not want when somebody gets something for you to have some kind of feeling. Building this chopper down here, I've had to use a lot of. I'm thankful that there's a lot of brands out there that sell products that solve a problem that otherwise I would need to, drill, cut, shape, whatever. It's like simple little brackets, right? Junior's Handmade, I'll shout him out on this one. I've been buying a lot of little stuff from him. Awesome products. And then every time I open the box, there's a postcard with a handwritten letter that says, thank you for, it says, thank you, Jace. The next says, thank you again, Jace. Thank you again and again. I really appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, it's those kind of thoughtful things that, like, I'm like, fuck, man, like this, I feel like I'm buying it from him, like a person, right? As opposed to, you know, we all got to this point, like you know, when Dixon Flannel blew up, and you felt like every time you were on Instagram saying, "Hey man, I love the flannel," you thought you were talking to him or some shit, you know, or he was hand packing it for you. Like there's that point, right?
Well, I think that's where the creative process comes in, because, you know, I don't know what kind of box that part came from Junior's on, but like a note goes a long way, 100%.
Yes.
And that's a low cost endeavor. You know, you just got to put hand to paper on that one, but it makes a huge difference. And I think that I guess what I'm trying to say is, you feel like you have 3 things to choose from, but you can only choose 2. But there's somehow a middle thing that can up it to basically 3.
Yeah.
With still only really focusing on 2 things. If choosing all 3 is impossible, either financially or, you know, functionally.
Yeah.
But that's where real products or services excel, I think. And that's really what it takes. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it.
I think that's the roadblock I'm in with things in regards to creating, you know, having a regular run of t-shirts, you know, having regular products that people that want to support the brand can do it. Like I'm in this point where like I'm ready to kind of like open up those avenues, but I really want it to feel different. And, you know, getting things printed is up and down. You know, you go to one guy and you think you got it all right, and then, you know, then you get a bad batch, or then, you know, it's like it's just the consistency of things. You know, like when I produce a helmet for somebody, I have to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not there, like you're not getting it fast, but when you open the box, there's no like, oh man, I was hoping it would be this. It's like, no, it's perfect. You know, I just finished a helmet for a dude that paints fucking planes and huge RVs and does these stupid like huge things. And I knew he was a painter. And so he paid me to paint him a custom helmet. So, I mean, even more so than I normally would do, I'm like trying to make sure it's dialed in and there's no problems in it, because I want him to open it up and I know he's going to look for a flaw, and I wanted to find him first and solve them. And those are the kind of things that I feel like push me behind in like profitability, but integrity is through the roof. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know, like
that's definitely the push and pull on that plane. Is quality.
I see a lot
and delivery versus profitability.
I see a lot of painters out there, and this isn't a dig or, you know, talking shit, but I see them pumping out like helmets, especially recently, right? And I'm like, man, like, damn, that's like 3 this week. I'm like, I'm pretty fast. Like, if anybody ever watched me work, I'm pretty quick with it. And I'm like, if I'm pretty quick and I can still only maybe do 1 helmet a week, either you're just putting some stupid hours or you're cutting a lot of fucking corners. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where things get kind of weird. It's like in the internet, like, I don't feel like
maybe they're producing in China.
I don't feel like we're in that world anymore where like you really want to publicly like fuck this guy and blah, blah, blah. Like, I know that it still exists, but like if you had a helmet painted by somebody and you open the box and it's kind of trash, like you're like, oh man, whatever, dude, fuck. I'm not going to go to that guy anymore. And that dude keeps selling helmets, right?
Yeah.
Well, it sucks because like he kind of got away with it. And like I'm busting my ass to do a better quality one, and I'm still in the same category. You know what I'm saying? Like it's I was telling someone the other day that like getting to maybe some version of the top of like your industry is like a death sentence. You know, you're expected to perform to the highest of quality. You're expected, you know, you're trying to charge at that rate too, which all the automatically like deducts a lot of potential clients from you that are never going to reach out to you because they assume you're too high or whatever the case may be. Or they're going to choose the guy that's $200 cheaper than you just because $200, like whatever. So you're like, you have to perform, you have to do this, you never know who's opening that box, and it needs to be the best thing possible. And you can't produce that a lot because it's so meticulously hand done that and there's a cap. Like I can't charge more. I'm already kind of high with it, right?
Well, I'm trying to think of the ways that that's been solved for historically, and the first thing that comes to mind is exclusivity. Like if you think of fashion brands, they will limit how much you can get so that you can't get it. But that doesn't really help. Like it'll help with a Coach bag because there's only one Coach bag, right? Yeah, there's Louis Vuitton, but it's not Coach if you want Coach.
I think it helps when it's a material item, even though technically the helmet is material item.
Yeah,
it's
they're paying
labor.
for your art.
It's the thing on it, right? Yeah,
they're paying for your work.
So there might be the aspect of like, okay, well, one day, you know, the exclusivity of it could create a demand as like reselling something that's already been done, but they're all personalized to
because you could just like double your prices and then you're going to be like, well, then nobody's going to buy it.
Exactly. Like there's always a price cap to what you do.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like there's still those relationships that you build through doing a helmet for somebody that like, I bet a price. I just need it to be this so that I can devote this kind of time to it.
You got to find yourself a celebrity who will post about it.
Nah, fuck that.
And then the moment that happens, you double your prices.
You know what? You want to know how celebrities work? Every celebrity that I know that I'm connected with, it's not even them. It's the fact that everybody that wants to get to them will start going through you.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I'm just thinking of like my buddy, you know, Xavier from Providence, who, you know, was the drummer for Buck Cherry forever, right? The amount of people that find out like through us, like just doing stuff together, that hit me up trying to get me to get stuff signed for them is fucking bananas. I'm like, dude, this is gross.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Chicks, hey, so blah, dudes from overseas, like it's weird. You know what I'm saying? So it's like weird when it's like you think you're kind of like known and shit, and then I
was joking because you're right. It's an ugly thing, but sometimes that shit hits and
it does. But it's like, what is it going to hit? It's going to create. This is what I do. I overthink everything, right? But here's possible great scenario. I paint a helmet for Jason Momoa, right? And he loves it. He makes an Instagram post and Jason's the best, blah, blah, blah. That all that does is create more work.
Yeah.
It doesn't create more value.
You would have to raise your price after that. And you're not going to be selling. Here's the other Achilles heel we haven't addressed is within the motorcycle industry. Usually, if you're impassioned, you want to do this as a contribution, right?
Yes.
You want to expand the offerings in the motorcycle space, and most of those people are just salt of the earth people. And so let's say all that happened. Jason Momoa buys a helmet or gets a helmet painted. Amazing. Then a bunch of people hit you up. You would have to raise your prices, but then all the people that you really want to paint helmets for can't afford it. And you're selling it to those other people.
Exactly.
You know?
So, and then, you know, there's
and
always.
then it's not cool anymore. And then it falls off.
Yeah. So it becomes like a, you know, name your streetwear brand that was cool that then all of a sudden wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that partner with the wrong place or whatever the case. So there's like, it's not, I don't think that the helmet is the thing for my brand to kind of take it to the next level because it's something that I think we can offer that's very unique and personalized. But I just don't think it's that. And I don't think it's building custom motorcycles. I don't know what it is. You know, and I don't know that there needs to be anything to it, but I just know that everything I touch and do, I just want it to feel like it's like there's integrity behind it. Like I busted my ass for this, you know? And I thought like to take it back to like the juniors handmade the notes. I'm like, man, when I'm doing a helmet for somebody and we're sitting there and they're telling me the story as to why they want this thing on there or this number, like they're telling me about themselves in a way. We're kind of in a relationship for a minute, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have the ammo to make something personalized, to write something down and be like, yo, like, man, I really appreciate you allowing me to encapsulate this experience, memory, or memorial for you in this helmet. I really appreciate the opportunity. And that handwritten note, I think is, I don't know, maybe it's kind of selfish because I'm thinking about how I feel about doing it versus how the other person would feel getting it. But I mean, like what else? Like, I think there's like this shift of like everybody. I know myself, and I'm only speaking for myself. I just want to find more authentic feeling connections, and whether it's where I purchase or the things I'm buying and from who I'm buying from and the people I spend my time with, and everything across the board. And I feel like there's this push to go older, not so much bikes, not choppers. I'm not talking into film photography. I'm just saying older, like simplistic things, I don't know. I got to pee real bad. That way you can do your thing. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. It's
what else we got?
Well, we have, you've been doing more YouTube. You've been getting back into like trying to create content in there. I think that we've had some pretty good conversations in regards to that. I've had probably one of my best years producing content for YouTube, but like, again, these last 4 months have been so hectic that it's been hard to do the work and then go, chop the videos up and put them out. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like after Born Free, I'm going to have like a lot of content to drop. So, but anyway, catch my breath too, because those stairs,
Take your time.
But no, well, you did the recent one where you did the Royal Enfield deal, and we went to the bar that night and had a long talk about that whole like concept of like how do you like what is a good YouTube video now? Is it information? Is it the vibes of things? Is it like there's so much content out there now. How do we like wade in that pool now? You know what I mean?
I think that's the existential question for anybody who's creating content. And, we're all in the audience for everything or anything. If you're on social media, you have your own algorithm, and naturally you're going to find the content that you like and engage with. And, on the plus side, there's nobody that can do what you do, anybody, but there's also for every thing that you do, there's 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 other people on the same topic. And of course, some people are playing very well with the algorithm and they're getting that reach, and therefore they're getting the rewards, whether it's brand deals or just payout from the platform because of that reach.
Yeah.
And so then people naturally try and copy that because they want that same end, but they probably water down their stuff, or it's just not as good as the people doing it originally. And I think ultimately, and it's a slippery slope, and I think at one point or another, we all fall victim to it.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately you just got to make what you really want to make. And if it's something you don't want to do, you shouldn't do it. I did that Royal Enfield documentary, and then I didn't move on, but I was doing other stuff. And then zoos occupied like nearly 7 years worth of attention from me. I was fully invested in that. And then that ended like 14 months ago. So, and I had some space to kind of explore what I was going to do next. I had time and space. That usually translates to money. I don't feel like I have any money, but I had some time. Very fortunate to do that, and I was just like, well, what do I like to do? And I had that garage, and so I was like, I'm gonna just start working on some fucking projects. And separate topic, but started working with David and some of his projects because he's a lightning rod for motorcycle projects. I was like, yeah, just give me something. I can wrench, I can build, I can shoot, I can edit, I can talk on camera. So like, just put me to work. And I like doing all that stuff. So it's basically just whatever. And then, I probably sound like Royal Enfield guy. I don't think of myself as that way. I don't think of myself as denominational at all. I like all types of bikes. But that all of a sudden came in. So I was invited to that launch, went to the launch, and I've been trying to work with them on something, and that hasn't happened yet. But I was like, give me one of these bikes for a month and I'll go make some content. And I hadn't really thought it through. So I got the bike and it's like, yeah, let me make some content. I kind of tried, as like, well, I think this recipe should work. And I kind of like did some stuff that was mediocre. And then I made this kind of review, and I was like, I'm not going to make a fucking spec sheet review like everybody else. I'm just going to kind of ride it and tell you what I think. And that one did so much better than the other ones. And this is still small time stuff. I'm not a fucking influencer or anything like that, but it did so much better. And the way I measure that is like, people are sincerely engaging, which means comments, and not just like 3 fire emojis. Like, you know, they're writing a paragraph or something. And that was really cool. I felt really good about that because I had done some short form content before I released that. And I was just kind of, I don't know if this is exactly what I thought or what I want to do or whatever. And then and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I actually really liked the bike. It was a lot of fun to ride. Put sticky tires on it and took it to the track. And this is not the bike that you would think you would take to the track, but it's a lot of fun to go, you know, push a slow bike fast.
I mean, we're all doing it with Harleys. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we're on the same page with that one. So that was cool. And then like a week before I'm supposed to go up there, I got a message from actually a guy who supported the Kickstarter for my Royal Enfield documentary. After that, I did a custom and I put it in the IMS show in New York. And, you know, this was 10 years ago, and he had bought that same bike after I did that. So I like genuinely influenced the guy. Yeah. He found me on the internet. We had never met. He supported my Kickstarter. So like, if you watch my film, there's a whole list of names at the end. He's on there, Jeff Linen. And then I came back, and it was Michael Baker, Royal Enfield of Fort Worth, who became business partner at Zoos, who found me at that same time making that documentary because he's a Royal Enfield dealer. And he's like, this is rad, support your Kickstarter. And then we came back. I was like, I kind of want to build a Royal Enfield custom. And so we worked out a deal. He got me a bike, and I did that. That was 2016. And then this guy who supported obviously was still following. He bought that bike, and then he rode it for like 2,800 miles. And then he started tearing it apart to do a project that's been sitting for 5 years. So he hit me up a week before I went to Milwaukee for the launch of the Gorilla, the new Royal Enfield bike. And he was like, this thing's been sitting on my lift for years. If you do something with it, you can have it. And so now I'm building that chopper around that bike, a custom that a bike that I've already built around that platform before. And at this point, it's like, feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah. But I was like, well, I'm going to build a fucking chopper because
it's got a good look to it so far.
Thank you.
I like the little snippet you put out today with the just doing all the coping on the tubes and pretty much getting the bones of the frame all like done.
All the lines are there. The seat post isn't in yet. And that's another critical. That's like a secondary or tertiary line, but still as critical as any other line. Yeah. But I just love frame building. And that's really all Zoos was. Like, we sourced exactly the components we wanted in terms of brakes, battery, motor. All we designed, really, at least to start, was the frame and the seat. And that's just line and proportion.
Yeah, and that's where you create your stat.
And that's what bike building is. Yeah. I mean, even on a production level, but especially custom, it's how do you dial in those little nuances so that it becomes a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. And that's the fun of it. And so when you're designing a frame, you get to start from scratch. Otherwise, you're designing around an architecture that wasn't really your intention to begin with. Yeah. And so I've always loved frame building. I think I could probably trace it back to that magazine that I picked up with all of Jesse James's frames. And then my first motorcycle, I built the frame. And I've just been interested in that ever since. And I think when that e-bike thing picked up, I know exactly what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, the frame is where you can kind of develop all the structure, the skeleton of like,
that's the word,
of all the other aesthetics that come to it. Right. And
you can't build
develop a stat like the stance.
You can't
It's
build
there.
a 6'3" man with 5'8" bones,
Yeah,
or vice versa.
exactly. So yeah, I get that, and that's why like I was my buddy Vincent. He does the Moto Loco tacos. He came out last week and was helping out, and we finally got to take the chopper off the lift and put it on the kickstand on the ground, and that's when I got the roll around chairs and was just sitting there and here and over there. And I'm like, this point right here, Vincent, is where if you're looking at it and you're like, this is sick, then you're on the right path. But if something's standing out to you, if it don't feel right, it doesn't like speak to you, that's when you know that like somewhere in this process, you're kind of going off target. You know
So
what I'm
this is
saying?
where I'm going to grab the mic back, because
Yeah.
I've been shouting this from the rooftops
Yeah.
or saying it in conversation with anybody. One of the skills that I learned through zoos, because I could draw dimensions, and I took drafting in high
Yeah.
school. But I know geometry and all this other stuff. But when it came to designing the zoo's platform and sending it out to be manufactured, it has to be a 3D file. It has to be a step file. And so that's where I took up the mantle to start learning how to do it in earnest. And now every single thing I build is designed in 3D. I have 20 something bikes already designed, like show bikes ready to fucking go in 3D, that I haven't picked up one piece of metal for yet. I wish I could. And that's what is happening. And I'm trying to show that process in this Royal Enfield chopper build, because I think it's absolutely critical. It takes some time, but it's like low effort time. You can do it in the AC in your underwear, and you can dial it in perfectly. And then every step of the way, when it comes to coping the tubes or the fit up or the measurement, if you have the 3D file, you have a jig, you have the tools, you can do one step in one move, second step in one move, three step in one move, and it comes out exactly. And it still kind of blows my mind, actually.
Yeah.
I bend the tubes, this is the angle. Bend the tubes, put in, like, this is the length. And I've gotten to the point where I just trust the process. I'm like, that's it. I've moved to millimeters just because, like, that's it.
You sold out, baby.
237.5 millimeters. I mean, that comes down to like a 32nd of an inch.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fucking precise for frame building.
Yeah.
It is.
That's really precise.
Because there's always a little bit of movement and flex, and you can lean on it or like shave a little bit off. And you're always going to do that in the final fit up. But I've gotten to the point where I just like, this is the measurement, fit it up. God damn.
Yeah.
Like a glove.
That's good.
And it's very rewarding. And that process feels good all the way through. And then you roll it off the lift and you set it on the ground and you get in your rolly chair. You look all around, you're like, that's exactly how it's looking.
Yeah, that program, when you have it in 3D though, you can also, you're kind of able to do that in the modeling, right?
Yeah.
As you spin that file around, you're seeing it from these different angles. Because I noticed that in the video you had put out, or the reel you made.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So like you kind of get that from a different perspective, but then also you
do have to train your eye just a little bit, because you have two camera views that you can work off of in 3D. You have orthographic and you have perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Perspective is like a camera lens, right? So like if I'm looking at a wheel at a 3/4 view, the front of the wheel looks bigger than the back of the wheel. That's perspective. If you're looking at it orthographic, it's like a 2D drawing.
Yeah.
Like you're drafting on paper. And so you're designing in 2D, and then you'll extrude the material, or like when I'm building a frame, it's literally just lines. So I'm designing it in profile. I'm like, this is the angle of this, but I know that like this is a double down tube. So it's straight like this, but then there's a spread for the frame rails. So I just drag those frame rails over. I add my fillet at the same radius as I know I have my bending die centerline radiuses.
Yeah.
Extrude it into a tube, and then I put it in perspective, and then I can just kind of sit back, orbit around it, and look. And there is a little bit of a difference in looking at it on your screen and then looking at it in real life, but this is just time. And the
Yeah.
amount of time that it takes to learn the process, you will learn to gain the eye and the perspective, your own perspective, not just the viewing lens perspective. And then you just figure out what's one, and that like this build, I'm still very early on in it. Frame's not even done, but I have all of the tabs, all of the mounting, every single part that has to be built or welded together or fit up or bolted on is in my design, and I know exactly how it's going to work. I don't have to cut something out, hold it up, get back in the rolly chair, look around, is it right? Because I've already done that in 3D.
Yeah.
I just have to know if it's placed well, it's straight, welded up properly, tack, weight, do all that stuff, and then do final weld up at the end.
Yeah.
I learned that years ago. But then that's it. And it makes the build so much faster and rewarding because you don't have to be, it's almost like autopilot. The pilot's still the pilot. Pilot's still in the pilot seat.
Yeah.
Pilot's still looking out of the cockpit window. Still kind of flying the plane, even though the plane's flying itself.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it more enjoyable than like,
just in high stress, the
gnarly
whole time.
experience.
Yeah, that's I could see the way that those methods could solve a lot of the problems that like you're kind of like working it all out on the computer before, and then now with the kind of things that we have like the send cut send or the RMFG or what is
those are the local guys, just like send cut send, but
the ability to draw it in the program and then have all these things cut out and sent to you so that you don't have to like sit there for hours with a grinder. I mean, I still want to learn the grinder way because I'm like when it comes to like fabricating and welding, I'm like where you were in high school. You know what I mean? Like I have a lot to learn in that stuff. So learning it that way to me gives me the fundamental like shit that I need so that as I also can implement my skills.
I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But at some point you have to graduate and it's okay to skip a grade.
Yeah.
And even when you're having it laser cut and bent, you're still going to use the angle grinder.
Yeah.
I would say the angle grinder is my spirit animal because I'm not super finessed. And that's where I kind of lean on the send cut send stuff because it's laser fucking straight. And ultimately that's what I want. I'm okay. Like I'll do the laser cut thing and then I'll use my angle grinder to give it a little bit more soul or organic shape where it looks like it's been touched, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a razor sharp edge. But save the angle grinder for that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the football line? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a cheat code, but you're going to get a better result. And at the end of the day, you're building something for the most perfect result that you can create. That's the goal that everybody's trying to achieve when they're building something. So take all the advantages you got.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, like I said, we in the paint side of things, we find ways to kind of make those processes more repeatable or efficient. And it's the same concept, but it's like I know 15 different ways that I can airbrush a portrait, and some different ways are more time consuming. Some of them are fast. Some of them, you have more ways to skin that cat, right? And I think that's the point of like learning how to do this stuff very basically. And then learning to add in these technological advances and, opportunities, right? With using these programs to be able to draw and design something in there, then finesse it in the final product. Like I still want to know that, okay, if I need to take this flat stock, this 2-inch, 1/4-inch flat stock, that I can draw a shape with a piece of cardboard or make a template with cardboard and then trace it and then make it work,
Well, there is no replacement for that. And you have to know how to do that 100%. And I agree with you that is more foundational to learning how to design in 3D, because all of your design in 3D, like it is ultimately going to be cut. It is going to be bent. It is going to have holes or threading or whatever involved in it. So you have to conceptually understand this stuff before you can go to 3D.
Yeah.
But if you do know that, and I would venture to guess that you do, I know that you do, it's worth taking the leap into that and figuring it out sooner rather than later, because eventually everybody's going to start using this stuff. I mean, like, I've come to know Christian Sosa pretty well recently, and if I may say, the way that he's much more of the artistic approach, where he's going to cut it out. He's going to cut it out and shape it with his hands and his mind. But he's doing CAD stuff now too. And I like to lean on these colloquial terms like 1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
The way he's approaching CAD is very different the way that I approach CAD. But he's got that 4x8 CNC plasma table, and he has an app on his iPad, but he's plotting vector points. He's rearranging. He's getting it all cut out on that. And then he starts shaping with his hand and his mind. So nothing's really changed for him, but he's found an advantage in speed, accuracy. And I think it really comes down to foresight through the whole process. Just like when you're describing how to airbrush a portrait, you know all of the steps, or even all the different routes you can take to get to some end.
Yeah, some end.
That is the experience that you must have. But if you already have that experience, I would recommend to anybody to start layering in new routes up the mountain, because it's no different than what you just described.
Yeah.
Just more powerful tools.
And I mean, a lot of that 3D modeling stuff is still like, it's the same stuff that they're using when they do, 3D printing and stuff like that as well. It's like the same kind of.
There's so many applications.
Yeah.
And once you open, that's kind of my point, is once you open up this skill, you are opening up a multitude of different applications that then affect how you build a bike and ultimately affect the quality of the outcome.
Yeah, and the efficiency. Yeah.
Well, efficiency there's efficiency if you have to run a business, and that's a necessity or a prerequisite. But as you know, and as we've spoken about, there is, blood, sweat, and tears, or like there's effort that goes into this. And the efficiency just comes into how much is each bike build or each project zapping out of you, because you got a lifetime of them to go. So that's where the efficiency pays off. And if you got to go through that whole process, back to the pilot in the cockpit, is every flight fucking gnarly, like, white knuckle, or is it boom, boom, boom?
Yeah, after being involved in these last two builds, back to back like this, I can't imagine like what it's like for the people that have multiple builds going on at once, like for customers or whatnot, or like I just couldn't like.
It's got to be gnarly.
I'm also like, the way I'm wired is like I'm a very laser tunnel vision focused kind of guy. Like I can only really attend one project at a time. That also is why I'm probably the time it takes to get something from me, is because everything I have is going into one project each time, as opposed to like spreading out. Like I can't paint 4 helmets at once. You know what I mean? Like I can do 4 things to each one, but I can't give it like that special sauce individually, right? When it comes to like building bikes, and I got an opportunity that's on the table to build an FXR for a gentleman next year. It's kind of a dream opportunity. It's a dude that wants to build an FXR that's going to be, it's his forever bike, a bike he doesn't want to get rid of, which that's important, because when you're building something that you want to keep, that you want to use and enjoy, and you're not looking to get rid of it, you're not thinking about this in terms of like its popularity of now, or how much does it cost versus how much can I get back once I spend the money. You know what I mean? Because when I build a bike for myself, I'm not thinking about like, oh, I spent too much, now I can't, I got to stop here. I'm like, no, I want this.
Yeah.
This is going to make it cooler. This is going to make it better. And so a lot of people that want to build bikes, like they don't think like that. They like, well, I'm going to buy all the very expensive things. We're going to put that on the bike, but then we're going to skip out on everything else. And to me, it's like everyone, like both of my FXRs that I have done right now, like they have custom hand controls, a PM, really nice hand controls. Like there's no buttons up there. There's no distractions while you're riding the bikes. Like when you're riding one of my 2 bikes right now, you're riding it. You're not checking the tire pressure on the gauges. You're not fucking getting an email. Like you're riding a bike, you're feeling it. And I think that that's like something that has like really made me enjoy motorcycling more, is that simple aspect, you know? Like, yes, it'd be nice to know how fast I'm going right now, but if it really matters, I put my phone up, I got Google Maps or whatever, it says how fast I'm going, I'm good, right? But so in regards to like this bike that I'm potentially building for this guy, you know, I just laid out all the terms like, hey, if I'm going to do this, this has to be this, and this. He's like, sounds good. I'm like, are you fucking punking me right now, dude? You know, I don't even know if there's like money to be made in this venture, you know, but I haven't the amount of,
as long as you do it in a moment where you don't need money, then it'll be fantastic. You'll make a little bit of money along the way.
Yeah.
I was talking to Magic Mike about this. You know, one late night, we're going deep on stuff because he turns out a lot of bikes.
He does, and he's fucking really good. I love his style.
Yeah, and it, you know, I've only known Mike, huge Zoozer, by the way.
For real? He
has like 12 Zoos bikes. I'm not kidding. I think he has the most Zoos bikes out of anybody on planet Earth. Sosa has 4.
He does.
Yeah.
Nice.
Back to the Zoos thing.
Must be a Vegas thing.
Anybody that was like writing off that whole electric bike thing, you're right 99% of the time, except for the one I built. And if you don't believe me, ask Sosa and Magic Mike.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you, does anybody really make money? Are you making money? He's like, no, you just shuffle money along. And he lives a very simple lifestyle.
Yeah.
Half the nights he's sleeping in his shop. He has like a little apartment in there, you know, no different than like this.
Yeah.
It's just a room, AC, carpet, whatever. And then he has his shop shower. But he's building enough to where like there's enough cash flow there. He can keep the lights on, keep himself fed, and have a good time with life and everything like that. And, you know, he gets to do what he loves. And I think that's probably the best that anybody could really ask for. Of course, there are exceptions where somebody's made it, but they don't make it on the bikes. They make it
on T-shirts or the brand or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's one king of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesse.
He's hiring probably. You could probably get a job down there.
Dude, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I know that I'm not. I don't know. I don't want to be like
he's got
over humble or anything like that.
He's got a high turnover rate of like people go to work for him and then it seems like a stepping stone kind of place to work for you to go out into the motorcycle industry and kind of like blossom on your own. Or you leave there and you're jaded by it and you don't want to have anything to do with the motorcycle industry. Seems like to be the.
I've heard similar things. I know 2 people that have worked there. One that I know like much better, and like I learned what he made there, and it was shockingly low.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, and that's fine. I'm not like judging, but I was curious. I was like, how did you justify that for yourself? Because he's now making literally 8 times what he was making there. And, you know, it's like not just livable, but it's comfortable what he's making now.
Yeah.
At 8 times, I would hope so. And he was like, you know, he was at a time in his 2 things. It was a time in his life where he could have made 10 or 12 grand more or something. And the benefit was to learn and get that feather in the hat. And that ultimately catapulted him into his next thing that he did. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's worth it. That's 100% worth it. But I also know the level of that guy. And, you know, some people champion my skills, but I'm not at that level. And I don't know that I want to try and chase that level because of the other side of the coin that you said, where people like get jaded. I said earlier that I've only built bikes for myself. With the exception of Zoos, I've never built anything for a customer ever in my life. It was only what I wanted to build, and eventually I'll move it on, or if somebody wants to buy it or something like that, that's cool. But I'm not making any money in that. It was never intention to do that. It's just more of my own. This is how I practice my religion. alone in the garage. That's it.
Yeah. Well, what would you say is like the dream, client for a bike build? If you had to like lay it out. And I mean, what I think when we like for the audience listening, like talking about this isn't so much to be like, fuck it when you do this, fuck you when you do that. It's more like, like in this space and the way that you get so involved in these bikes and the stress and the roller coaster of emotions, the imposter syndrome, the fucking like all these different things that plague you, when you might have this one victory when you pull it off the lift and set it on the kickstand. You're like, oh, it looks good. But then you look at this and you're like, okay, this one little thing is okay. But if I address this, then what's the cascading of events, the domino effect of things that affects that I now have to solve? So, and I say that to say that like when I'm doing a bike for somebody, like, or what I'm asking you is like when you're doing a bike for somebody, like what is the ideal customer?
Well, I don't know because I've never had one.
What if you were to ask for one? Like
it's going to be a unicorn. Somebody who has, of course, you set a budget. It's not build me a $250,000 bike, but somebody who is going to not balk at the cost of anything. And it's not just the cost of parts. It can be the cost of time, minor tools, time, of course, or like, hey, I want to do this process. It requires me to buy a tool. And they're like, yeah, go buy the tool. And they're effectively buying you the tool to use it on their bike, but you keep it afterwards. All those little things. So like budget's not an issue, timeline. And I think ultimately an alignment of vision, because you well know that you will sacrifice your own pay, which, I would say comes out of the budget, but ultimately doesn't come out of the budget, doesn't come to you, for an alignment of vision. Mm-hmm. And so you are ultimately building what you want. What they want is what you want. And that both of you receive the same satisfaction or elation from the final product.
Mm. No, that's 100% it.
I think those are the only two things. I would put the alignment of vision first.
Yes.
And second is that you're compensated appropriately.
Yeah. And the thing is with like, so my customer has a budget and, and everything that he is looking for, like the initial parts cost, like the things that I want to run this type of motor, I want to run these type of wheels, those things that are kind of like not going to be made or whatever. Like you put on that table, okay, now we still have space within your budget for this all to come together, for this to be painted, and for me to spend the time it takes to assemble this with the integrity that I talked about.
Do you have like a full-on spreadsheet type of thing?
This is the way I did it a long time ago. I haven't built a bike for somebody in years, and I stopped offering it because
it's tough.
It's tough, and it was a close friend that I was doing a bike for, and I got put into a really weird situation. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those situations where I should have stood up and said something then, and I just kind of like tucked my tail and dealt with it. And I had
it's a misalignment of vision and expectation.
Exactly.
Expectation falls under vision over the whole thing, but expectation also touches budget.
Yeah, and
time.
And that's kind of where like I feel like this. Usually, if you're building a bike for yourself and you have the money and you have a budget, then we're in the right place to have a conversation, right? And whether like where this guy's budget is versus where someone else's budget is or whatever, that there could be a big variance and I could still do something within that as long as the other aspects fit within the budget. Now, if they add it up and their budget is, let's say they want to build an all-out FXR and they have 20 grand, but they tell me the 4 parts that they want to buy and we're at 18 grand off those parts.
Yeah, there's nothing left.
Like, bro, like where do you think this bike's going to get built?
Do you ever think of like a multiplier? Like when I do the rough calculation of what the cost of parts, materials, et cetera is, I always double it. Just straight up.
This is the way I do it. And I think it works. I think it didn't work for me a long time, or I think that my building back in the day, or customizing bikes is what I like to say it. Back in the day, I was younger, and I felt like more people were trying to take advantage of my youth and my inexperience by getting me to do the work, but not willing to pay me for it. You know what I mean? And people out there, trust
You're
me,
naturally gonna have to go through that forest. That's
that's
part
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
deal.
I've dealt with this. I've been in this space since my entire adulthood, right? I have, some people might consider the way that I talk about like the skills that I have as arrogance. I find it as a way of like fighting back against all the fucking dudes in my life that have tried to take advantage of me and fuck me over. You know what I mean?
Or more pragmatically, it's a litmus test. If people get flung off the handle when you're talking about what it costs or even what it takes out of you or your experience of that, if they can't handle that, then they're probably not the right customer.
Exactly. And I mean, there's, and I think that,
there's no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. It's like,
them right.
I'm just not the guy to do a bike for you. I think that I'm going to be as emotionally attached to this bike I built for this gentleman as I think he is.
100%.
And when it comes to that, like, ultimately at the end of the day, the most important thing is not, it's about us being happy with the project, but the project has to be sick. The bike has to be dope. At the end of the day, it's not about, it's not really about the money that I could potentially make or would make or whatever. I mean, obviously you want to be able to like I'm tapped right now doing a second bike, right? I'm tapped. But I'm having to figure out where to come up with the money to finish it. It's not like, oh, well, that's it.
Yeah.
I have to, the way this bike is now, I cannot put another dime in it.
Yeah.
And when you're a customer on the outside looking in,
that's the way it feels. I get it.
You feel like you have to cut the line, but like I'm looking at it going, well, I need a battery, I need a chain, I need neck bearings. No matter how tapped I am, I have to have these things. I can't put, you know what I mean? It's not an option. You know what I mean? And it's not it falls on me to solve that problem. This isn't a customer's bike or for a build for somebody else. Like do I want to ride it to Born Free?
That's why I was asking about the spread. That's why
okay, sorry, I lost track of that. What I do is
one of the ways that you can make it up, but you
Yes.
have to think down to every fucking nut, bolt, and washer to substantiate that cost, because they're going to think in their head, I want this part, that part. To me, that adds up to $18,000. Like, well, you haven't considered, like if you get the tires mounted somewhere and they charge you $175 for it.
Yeah.
That's a line item.
And I had to drive those tires over there. You know what I mean?
That's a line item.
So the way that I've always done it is you start a project with a folder, and it's kind of like a spreadsheet, and all you're doing is basically documenting. You're almost writing a report every week of what you've done. If the bike, when I pick up the bike and I get it to the shop and I get it stripped down to the bare frame, and now here we are. All right. I just spent 6 hours doing this.
And that's a free estimate.
It's not free. And you just write it.
Do you charge for an estimate?
Well, no, I mean, we're not really estimating here because we've got a budget. Yeah. So the goal is it's just labor to get it there and get it going.
I'm just trying to drive the point home is that, this is all time, money, and experience. Like, as we're talking about this, there's a bunch of like, I like these colloquialisms or lines or stories.
Yeah.
Because there's like truth in there. And there's this famous story, Pablo Picasso later on in life. He was at some dinner party, like elite people around, whatever. And some lady, oh my God, Pablo, I love you, blah, 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 won't leave him alone. And she's finally begging him, like, could you just draw a little something for me, right? Mm-hmm. Pulls out like a napkin or something, sketches something. And he's like, oh, Pablo, it's amazing. Can I do anything for you? He goes, yeah, that'll be $25,000. She's like, what? That just took you like 2 minutes. He's like, you're not paying me for the 2 minutes. You're paying for me for the 60 years.
Yeah. And so that kind of concept, I mean, I've heard it so much, and it is that, right? One of my best friends, Brad, he's the AC guy. He's the guy that can show up to your house and get your AC working in 20 minutes.
AC guys get that.
Yeah. And he's like, well, there's a service fee to come out to your house. It's X amount of dollars.
And it's 2 a.m.
And I just solved your problem. It cost me, I had to put a new capacitor on your fucking,
$150 cost, charging you $1,500.
Yeah, maybe not that much, but
you know what I mean, though. Like, it's 2 a.m. It's July 31st. It's 108 degrees.
Yeah.
The low hasn't gone below 100 degrees in the past 23 days.
Yeah.
You have an infant at home.
Yeah.
What's it worth to you?
Exactly. So that's kind of the thing that, like, I think about that all the time. And when you have a mentality of like, when you are a rider, when you are a dude in the bike scene, you tend to think about things, and I know Matt does this too. I do it. It's like, when someone gets a helmet from me, I have a list. And if you want this, and this, it adds up. It's right there. This is what it costs. Every once in a while, I'm like, man, like, I just don't know if I want to charge them that much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that's a lot of money.
I do the same thing, and it somehow works into all of my calculus because I want to do it, and I just want to do it. And my wife is a shrewd business person, and she's like, no, they have to pay. You're underselling yourself, and you're gonna kick yourself later for this.
Yeah.
And I know she's right. I'm like, yeah, but I want to do it. And then you do it, and then you get the result that you reap what you sow.
Yeah. In regards to this bike, I think that the way that I found that works the best is just, regularly talking. We have an ideal time frame to finish it, right? It's within reason. As long as there's money there to keep the ball rolling with products that need to be bought, things that, I'm not making or dealing with, we'll be able to get it going. But the thing is that, like, the labor at the beginning is kind of minuscule compared to the labor at the end. Right.
Right. I would totally never charge for an estimate. Like,
yeah.
It's just fun.
But if I'm tearing the bike down, the thing is, I told him, was like, if we start with this bike, then all these parts that we're not using, those are sellable items for you that you can sell and recoup some of the money to go back into.
I'm doing that right now. I just listed all the fucking, like, dude, if you take it number of items, like engine is one item, obviously I'm using that.
Yeah.
But like, I'm using like 7 items off of this Royal Enfield, and there are 100 other items. I just listed them all on eBay a week ago. I've sold 2, and after eBay fees, I've already recouped $73. You can't bank on that. Like, it's a nice little extra sprinkling. This is beer money.
Well, this dude, I told him, say, look, the main thing that I don't want to happen is that, like, every purchase has to come through me. Everything, every part you want to buy, I don't want to wake up on Monday morning and you were taking a shit on Sunday and saw this part come across, so you ordered it, and now we have to figure that out on the bike. I was like, we need to talk about everything you want to do, and it needs to go through me, because here's the deal. For those that don't know, like, bike shops make money selling parts, right? Now here's
car companies make all of their money selling parts.
Here's the justification as to that. If you buy a part from me, that means that it's my responsibility on all fronts of this part's compatibility with your bike working. If there's an issue with the part, if it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. If you provide me with parts and now all of a sudden this primary cover doesn't fit, that's your fucking problem. And it's between you and whoever you bought it from. And I'm not involved. And now it's on my lift. And now I'm going to have to possibly charge you because that's now your fault.
Yeah.
That now I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more complicated. People need to understand that, like the world, we all have a job. My job is this, right? Your job is whatever you do. Trust me, if you're paying me to build you a bike, you make more money than me. I can't afford to build my own bikes. You know what I mean? If I had to pay myself, there's no fucking way I could afford this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just expensive. I chose to go the route to learn how to use these tools and to develop these skills so that I can enjoy this. I wish that I knew how to fucking animate for Disney or goddamn run spreadsheets or goddamn, play
Accounting.
stocks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do that, but you do, and you make enough money to enjoy motorcycles. Thank you. But also thank me that I fucking couldn't, and I figured out how to make this shit happen so that I could possibly help bring your ideas or your bike to reality. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a circle of life. We all play a part in this, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like I can't afford this shit. I can't afford to buy my own helmets. You know what I'm saying? Like if I painted a helmet for myself and I charged it, I don't make that kind of money. You know what I mean? And it's weird to say that, but that's also why I get in my head like, man, like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know?
What we've been talking about the past couple minutes has inspired a question in my mind that I want to ask you, and then I have my own response to it. What would you change about all of this stuff? Motorcycle building specifically. What would you change about it? Like one thing that you could change that would make it all more fun.
Fun. Oh, that's a loaded question.
It is. It's complicated, and I have my own thought about it.
Well, the challenge is what makes it fun. Because if there was nothing to overcome, if there was no obstacle.
So the challenge is not something that needs to be changed.
No, the challenges are there to create the hard.
That is the fun with it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think what I was kind of getting at the beginning of this conversation was what's not fun about it is managing the relationship with the individual you're building a bike with and making sure that you're truly on the same page.
What's the root cause of that relationship running awry?
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Anything else?
Usually it's either too many cooks in the kitchen or too many critics telling the cooks how to cook. You know what I mean? Basically the advent of group chats and fucking forums is like me and you have a conversation and we have a game plan on your bike, and then you decide to ask another opinion on a group message.
I see.
And then next thing you know, now I have to explain myself and my point of view to you to reiterate.
I guess that's the slippery slope that I never went down.
There's a lot of managing expectations.
I've only built bikes for myself, so I never had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I have built some funky stuff, but I prefer the funky stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Like
I built a CR80 chopper.
Is that one you brought to bike night? The little fucking what was it? The two-stroke fucking chopper.
And Zach got on it. I asked everybody to take it for a ride, and only Zach.
Well, he knew what a two-stroke is, how you need to run it.
Yeah, but it's an 80. Come on.
But okay, so to answer your question, answer your own question on that one.
It's the cost. It's the price. If that all of a sudden came down, everything would be a lot easier if things were a little bit more chump change. And I am inspired by, for example, there are many examples, the guys in Indonesia, right? These guys are comparatively have nothing. I don't know the situation of the economics on the ground or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they make up for it in skill and ability. But somehow having less to work with, whether that's capital or parts, they've been able to make up for in everything else. And it's kind of in parallel or synonymous with the state of life here in the United States. Everything just costs money. Like, how much is a loaf of bread? I don't know, like $5.75 or like, it just costs money. And not that it shouldn't or whatever, but what if it didn't? And when you come into the top tier of motorcycle building, ultimately stuff just costs money. If there was a creative way to get around the cost, would it be more fun? And this is what I'm trying. This is This is my deduction of how to figure this out, and it's what I tried to approach on this Royal Enfield build. It's like, how I got the bike for free, so that's the variable cost, right? For anybody, what bike are you building? Therefore, you're starting with that bike. You have to source the bike, whether it's relatively new or parts or whatever. There's a cost there. That's the X factor. That's on you. I got it for free. So I was like, well, how far can I send this? And I kind of threw the budget out the window because I was like, well, I want to try all these new processes. And I got a bunch of laser cut parts. And a lot of it were just jig fixturing things. I'm ordering one of it and it's 3/8 inch steel, which costs the most. And I spent like $700 on steel that I'm going to use literally for like a minute. And then it's going to sit on my shelf. It's like, I'll make tabs out of it. No, I'm not. I'm going to order more laser cut shit. But that's a little aside. Let's put that to the side. But like, could you build something fun for next to nothing? Like $3,000, right? Unfortunately, nobody is going to think it's cool. And I don't care. Like, I'm not building it for anybody else. I'm building it for me. Well, I could as me, but I'm also building it for me.
Yeah, but for a customer, it's impossible to do something at that.
No, not for $3,000. This is the cost $3,000.
Yeah,
but the bike you're talking about, the cost is $20,000, or a multiple of what I'm building. And ultimately, like, I think what would make motorcycling more fun is, well, I guess I'm still stuck in my mindset of like, I'm just building bikes for myself. And the Indonesians, they're building bikes for themselves, ultimately. Like, they're
that's what I'm doing too. I'm building bikes for myself too. But
right. And every once in a while, a customer comes along and you float your boat with helmets.
Yeah.
And
podcast
and sponsorship. And if that shit goes away, you're in hot water. And
you'll see me out there painting a lot more. So,
well, I guess there's another point that affects all of this. Like, the other day we were talking about your exhaust design, and I took a screenshot on your phone to send it to myself, and it's stored as Chris Cafe Racer. And we talked about it. It's like, you're more into the Cafe Racer thing. I'm like, I mean, not really. Choppers were actually my first true love, and all of the bikes that I build for myself are chopper-esque.
Well,
they're not Harley-based choppers, so they're not real choppers.
The thing is that like I name people in my phone based on the type of bike that I
so when they show up, like, you can place them.
Because I'm
like not offended. I'm not
40
offended.
fucking Chris's in my phone.
And I've built a handful of what you would consider.
Well, I met you through that vein of Cafe Racer.
Yeah, through David.
Yeah.
It's hard to avoid the Cafe Racer thing. And I've been, I've obviously been working with him on various things. And I'm posting some stuff for him on his main account, Cafe Racers of Instagram. And you can tell when I post it because it's like not Cafe Racer stuff. And somebody, the first like 5 minutes, somebody commented like, do you have the faintest idea of what a Cafe Racer is? Hint, this is not it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's cool. And so to get back to that, like, what would make motorcycles more cool in the context of building? Being able to build more, and that's everybody, not just you, but everybody, the whole custom world.
Yeah.
Being able to build more ideas, more bikes. What limits that? Cost.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a way to bring costs down through not that, like, because parts aren't going to come down. That's not what I'm saying. A $5 loaf of bread isn't all of a sudden going to become $1. My point is, like, is there a creative way around that gets people excited? And then when everybody gets excited, the customers also get excited, and then the customers come to you. And maybe they're not the top dollar builders, but nonetheless, they're still at your door.
Yeah.
And I feel like this race to the top, as cool as it is, and like cutting edge is cutting edge, cool is cool,
yeah,
best is the best. But this race to the top ultimately I feel diminishes everything. And I'm not, chanting from the rooftop about it, but it's kind of like an ingrained belief system that you should lean more into the creative, more outside of the box. And at minimum, you might find your own salvation there.
I think the consumer side of the motorcycle industry is so indoctrinated by purchasing off shelves.
Yeah.
That like they don't know how to assess value to like craftsmanship.
Well, the guy that's taking a shit and ordering a part, he's just going to pay what it is because he's not negotiating with somebody. It's just on a page.
Yep.
And that's the checkout cost. And they'll spend the $3,000 on a swing arm.
Yeah.
And they've acquiesced to that cost of the craftsmanship to that guy. But they won't to you.
The thing is, like, they look at that swing arm and then they go to another account or another brand and say, okay, well, how much is their swing arm? And so the value is set, whether they are in their head, like, I value a swing arm at this much money or not. They didn't set that for themselves. The industry did.
Yeah.
The industry decided, hey, if you want to get a custom swing arm on your Harley Softail or Bagger or FXR, this is where it starts.
Yeah.
And then so in their head, they're like conditioned, they're groomed, for a newer term that everybody likes to use, to assume, okay, well, if I want to address the back end of this bike, I need to have said thing on it, And so you have people that value that now. They see that on somebody else's bike because they've already done the research for themselves. Like, oh, man, dude's got a so-and-so swing arm on their bike. They got some money in that, right? But they will never depart the handmade bracket, the handmade exhaust, or the handmade fucking paint job, or the handmade gas tank, or all these other little handmade things. There is nowhere else to assess value to that. It's in the eye of the beholder or the eye of the owner, right? Like, the owner valued it. That's why they wanted it, right? But the consumer side of motorcycles right now, and this is, I think, the part that sucks. And I think that's why, like, if people out there that have been buying in this manner are not fulfilled, it's because you're basically being told how much things are worth. And you're now putting that on a high pedestal, regardless of whether you want it or not. Because you feel like you need to have it to have a complete custom bike.
I was just struck by an idea.
Huh.
Back to the Zoos days. That concept bike that I made that went to Australia and like did this whole little thing. For like 2 years, we put it on the website and I built this frame in 12 hours. Very simple frame.
Mm-hmm.
There's some carbon fiber bits on it that took a long time. So I put the value at $10,000. There was only one made. It's not for sale.
Yeah.
I put it on the website as a product, $10,000 sold out. We would get at least once a week somebody saying, when's it coming back in stock? I want it. They didn't know. Like, even though we said in the description, this is a concept bike, it's not coming out. We're just putting it here. Literally, like, kind of tongue in cheek. Put that in the description. But they're like, no, seriously, I want it.
The problem is
like
that
this little 2-stroke fucking hybrid electric bike that I just kind of fucked around with 2 months ago. I'm getting comments of like, how much? I'll buy it. Name your price. So I guess the point is, like, what if you do name your price somewhere? I don't know if you have a website, but if you have a website, the swing arm guys are naming their price for their swing arm. What if you put your price at X amount, a certain amount that weeds out the people that don't want to be your customers anyway, but the people that could be your customers see the price, they digest it, and they say, okay, then they're at your door.
Yeah.
And you've set an expectation the same way that the guys with the swing arm have.
Yeah, no, that's kind of, I don't have it on the shelf for you to make that decision without having a conversation first, right? Like, so it's not like a price tag that's out there, right? But when you ask me, hey, what's your, I just copy, paste, these are the details, right? But my problem with that is this is where my integrity side comes into play. Like, that would be easy to do in a way. And then I just got to promote the price out there. Hey, look, check it out. And there's
$100,000 bikes. And then somebody approaches you and they're like, oh, I can do it for 70 grand. And you're like, shit.
But my thing is that like
I know it seems cheap. I'm just thinking out
in regards
loud.
to what you were just talking about with like you put the $10,000 Zeus bike up there, right?
Yeah.
And then there's people out there that are like, look, everybody does this, whether we have the money in our bank account or not. If somebody sells a product,
Right.
we always go see what the most expensive one is.
Yeah.
And we always look at it and then we go, okay, well, that's for sure out of my price tag. What can I afford that I like here?
Yeah.
And then we kind of figure out where we're at in life, right?
But a lot of people end up punching up more than they really want to
Exactly,
spend.
because they want to be closer to the top one, even if they can't afford it, right? So this is
That's
like
what I'm getting at.
there's this mind game going on, and I think it's fucked. It devalues, in my opinion, the true nature of craftsmanship, right? Because if you're a craftsman about what you're doing, then the exclusivity of what you're making is going to make it more expensive as it is. You probably don't have time to make a website about it because you're only making 2 or 3 a year or 1 a year or 10 a year, not fucking 100 to where people can add to cart. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to call an annoying bullshit on that because now there are AI tools. You can write a fucking prompt and it'll build
Fuck
you a
AI,
website.
dude. We don't talk AI in this goddamn. You see, this room is full of art, man. You know AI in this bitch. When AI can make a goddamn table for me.
Missing the point. Missing the point. Do you use ChatGPT?
No.
No?
Look,
I've sent out 3 resumes
How
so
many-
far. And I know everybody's like, oh, yeah, but they're using AI to read resumes and it calls out if it was AI. It's like, I don't give a shit. I'm giving you a resume.
All right.
And I got to rebuild one every time. You know how much time I've spent on those 3 resumes? 20 minutes. You know how
right.
much I would have spent? It's a tool, man.
It is. All right. So
I have
you're
the
going to be
same
able to understand
trepidation
this.
as you do.
You're going to get this, and I'm going to use this as a way to ask you a question. We're both pretty computer savvy, considering that we both grew up working with our hands. Matt's the same way, working with our hands in shops, right? To the point where we all know older men who decided, I'm not into this fucking technology shit.
That's what you're saying right now.
Okay, that's what I'm getting to. But in your head, or say it, like let people know, at some point in your time, like some dude was like, I don't get this social media thing. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I'm not into this whole internet stuff, whatever. I'm not into this whole fucking, this, that, and the other. It's always something to do it. I think I'm just at that point in my age where I have to draw the line in the sand of like, I don't have time
There's
for
nothing
this.
wrong with that.
To go along with that, too many people want business cards still instead of doing social media.
Yeah.
I get asked, do you have a business card so I can hand out to people?
I get frustrated by that too, but the whole point of a business card is to be able to connect with somebody, and when they physically put that in their pocket and they go home and they take it out and they put it on their nightstand, you've actually done a great job. And again, these are just tools. Like you can take the title and the attached baggage of whatever item it is and just distill it down to exactly what it is or what it isn't. And at the end of the day, these are tools or mechanisms to achieve the end that you are seeking.
Yeah.
And a business card is still a good thing to have because somebody who very well might be your customer and give you money wants a business card. That's what they want. And then you have a physical token in their fucking pocket.
Well, what I was getting at is they don't want to look you up on Instagram or anything.
Yeah.
Because they're not into social media.
Yeah.
So it's not always that.
And I've scoffed at those people too. But
Well, I mean, like
I wouldn't be scoffing if they were going to give me money.
Well, I mean, I think what Matt's saying is like drawing that line in the sand of like the people that decide not to be on certain platforms or whatever the case.
Well, I'm
may
not
be.
writing you off for not using AI.
I mean, look, AI is like a big word that there's many versions of it that which
100%.
I do actually use. Like I use it in, like when I say I use it in photo editing, you might think, oh, for someone out there, oh, AI edits Chase's photos. No. AI has
remove background.
Has small
Mask
little nuanced
background.
things. Yes. It's like a very, it's things that's been around for a while.
Instead of using my mouse to plot 127 vector points around an object so that I can create a mask. AI will do it in a second.
Exactly. As opposed to me saying AI wrote my resume. Those are two different things. AI is
so
helping
there's a whole
me
theory
do my
about this. It's called human in the loop.
So
I'm supplying the prompt, and then they give it back to me, and then I edit it. But it's creating it's doing all the keystrokes for me. I still have keystrokes to deliver afterwards. I'm not just copy and pasting.
I feel like we've seen this a lot lately. People that make AI flyers for their events. I will not go to your event.
I don't blame you for that perspective.
You know why? Because there's an art, like band flyers, right? Mm-hmm. Band posters. They're coming to Dallas. Tool's coming to Dallas. There's a cool poster for it. I want that poster. You know what I mean? I want that or whatever. To me, if you don't give a fuck about your event more than the only thing you did was make a prompt for it, like
I agree with you. There's no affront here.
Plus, the lettering could be flawed, like misspelled and everything. I saw someone do that.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Well,
like, that's like the biggest word on there that's misspelled.
But you're reaffirming the point is,
and they can't fix it because they don't know how to prompt to fix the problem.
The people don't care enough about their product. So like with the resume example, if they provided me some bullshit, I'm not just gonna let the thing fly.
Yeah,
I go and edit it. But I think it's a very specific example you gave.
Yeah.
Like this is when you get a flyer and you're learning about it, that is your first interaction. It's everybody judges a book by its cover. That's the cover. I ain't gonna read it. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the human part of it. And that's not just allowable, permissible. I think that's right. Because that's your introduction. That's your prima facie. That's your first I just feel like
things being easier for you to produce more of those things does not make those things better.
Yeah.
Right? Creativity and you and the relationships, if you're not the kind of person that can make flyers and you have to do that hard thing and find the people that are and make relationships to get things done. I mean, do you want, like, I know people are making t-shirt designs on AI now, but like,
I think what it comes down to for me is it a tool and is a human operating the tool? Like, where's the line? What's our filter for where AI is permissible or not permissible?
If it can help me make art, I'm good. I do not want it to make art.
Yeah, fine.
That's my whole thing. I
totally agree with you.
You know, the funniest meme ever was the one where it's like, I thought we were making robots to do all the dumb, boring shit, but all the robots are just doing all the art and creative things for us now. It's just stupid. It's like the most ass backwards things in the world. You know what I mean? It's like, look, art and creativity is like a big part of like the tastemaker world of like our culture for the last forever, for decades, for millennia, right? But the thing is that like if you get to a point where like having the art is more important than the artist, then you miss the message of the art.
100%.
Right.
But I think you've already identified for the people that know, it's not passing muster. The people who know will know, and the people who don't know weren't relevant anyway.
Yeah, it sucks because it's another one of those like things in culture that's gonna divide people, right? It's not.
Yeah, but people who rode horses said the same thing about the automobile.
Yeah, that's a fucking that was a necessity though. I mean,
people.
It's not,
all right, let's fast forward a little bit. People who fucking what's his name? Paul Krugman, Pulitzer Prize winner, all this other stuff. He said that the internet will be no more impactful than the fax machine.
Oh yeah. Well,
is
he's famous for that quote now.
Yeah, he's a famous douchebag too.
Yeah.
Do you agree with is email a necessity?
I don't disagree that like it's got a place. I think its use is,
but that's
not
up to you.
Well, I mean, yes and no, right? It's like in a way that like that's if you create an entire culture of people who are effectively having to create some form of art to advertise, and then you make a tool that creates art to make you advertise better, then it's like society like pushed everybody. Like the only thing that's going to happen, I think what would happen.
You're making a good point. I guess I just don't pay attention to that stuff.
So sort of how I look at it is, it's good to evolve over time and, learn new techniques and styles and everything, but you shouldn't be dependent on it.
I guess I have a little bit more faith in humanity where all the new fancy bullshit that isn't worth it is going to get evolved out anyway. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like techniques and art.
It requires this.
So the amount of time that it takes for some people to learn how to prompt in an effective way to actually make good AI products.
Yeah,
you could probably apply that to learning how to use fucking Photoshop, right?
100%.
But you choose not to because you're compelled to do something that's also difficult to learn how to essentially code or communicate with this chat bot to create something. But you could also do like just fucking look at YouTube and this wealth of knowledge to solve these flyer issues on your own on your computer. It costs $10 a month to get Photoshop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're paying $20 a month for AI. If you're getting like Chat GPT, like professional shit, so you can get more than one image a month. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the thing is that like,
I agree with you that that's the ideal. I mean, and if I'm wrong about this, you can totally crucify me for it. I'm doing this Royal Enfield chopper now, and I made my first YouTube video, and I had the whole rendering or what I created a rendering from my design file, and I put it into Chat GPT. I said, put this bike in New York City, because that's where it's going to go. It's going to live in New York City, so that when I visit, because I go there like 3 times a year.
Yeah,
I want a cool bike to ride. And so I did, in order to put it into a reel for literally 12 out of 30 frames, just a flash. It was the first thing, just to get, it was a flash so that people might spend the next second and then the next 3 seconds and the next 10 seconds on the reel, because I want the reel to do well. And we all have to do this so that they're like, oh, maybe I'll go watch the YouTube video. And then, it all aggregates towards something. And if you look at that actual file, obviously it's all fucked up AI bullshit. Like, there's like some tentacles growing out of the cylinder head. But
it's got a tentacle.
Is it wrong? I felt a little bit cheap about it, and I didn't really like it. But I could have, and I don't have the Photoshop skills, but I could have put it into Photoshop and actually really made it polished. But it was just like 10 years ago, like, oh, this image is Photoshopped.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that's getting much better and whatnot, but I think it's just more like
Photoshop's getting better, but like, just 10 years ago, like, like beauty industry, right? Yeah. Like, she's not, of course, this person's beautiful, whoever the fuck it is. I don't know. I don't follow that shit. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
But they edit her skin. Or, they'll lift her tits or whatever the fuck it is, right? But now all of a sudden that's cool because AI is bigger, badder brother. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I actually agree. Yeah, I agree with your position.
Look.
But eventually it's going to become part of the topography of everything. And it's just a matter of how you use the tool, whether it's... And I agree with you. If you see a shitty flyer is a shitty flyer. It doesn't matter who made it. Yeah. If somebody actually made it themselves in fucking Paint, MS Paint, like,
sick.
Would you have a different response? Like, oh, you know what? It's a shitty flyer, but they really put some effort in. I'm going to go to the show.
Yeah, it's like they tried. You could see. I mean, there's a digital footprint.
Are you sure?
There's a digital footprint of like, you could tell that they tried some degree. I would rather see them put 12 minutes of MS Paint effort into than 12 minutes of fucking prompting.
I make my YouTube thumbnails on Paint.
Sick. No fucking I'm not, my opinion and my perspective is of a struggling, wannabe artist of some kind of form or fashion as well. And all I'm thinking of is like my own connection to art. And I'm thinking about the art that's inspired me.
I agree with you. That's the true north.
And I'm thinking about the fact that like when I think about music, right? Mm-hmm. And I love music to so many different degrees. And I also know that there's gaps of music in time that were the most popular things in the world, but you just somehow never go back and listen to it. Why is the thong song not as popular now as it was when it came out?
I mean, if
But
you put that shit on
somehow,
right now,
I mean,
I'd probably
yeah.
bob my head.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna fucking let me add this to my playlist and go listen in the car. But somehow fucking Stairway to Heaven keeps coming up. You know what I'm saying? Or some Pink Floyd or some fucking Nirvana or something that seems like it was created out of some kind of like true place in someone's fucking like soul in their heart or their life or their connection to the world at the time. And that art they made resonates for generations as opposed to something that, like, I would say a lot of the pop art or music that came out of the early 2000s is no more different than the AI that we're like getting now.
I track.
It clicks the bait. It clicks the checks the boxes, but it doesn't check the boxes of like staying power and like real substance that it came from. And when you translate that into art in general, like you just don't see that. You can see the difference in that.
I think these are all precursor conversations to what we feel is coming in the very near future of where computers or AI is a threat to the human experience, the lived human experience. And that is a gnarly thing.
Computers already kind of fuck with the human experience.
100% they're fucking with the human experience.
Look
at us now, bro. We're all brain rotted. I avoid that shit. I'm brain rotted.
Yeah. It's not that they don't solve a lot of great problems and help out with a lot of different things. Like I use my phone every day. I use my computer every day, right? But it's just being aware of said things to be able to decide, you know what? I've been on my phone too much today. Or you know what? I need to go see someone in person. I need to go sit at a bar and have a beer with somebody. I need to go to a restaurant and have food with somebody. I need to say these things I'm thinking in my head out loud to somebody to see if I'm fucking full of shit or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can watch this shit on my phone and watch these YouTube videos and I can come up with all these narratives and these thoughts in my head. But until I hear it said out loud, I'm like, okay, I guess I really don't believe that. No, Jace, you're being a little racist right now, dude. Calm down. Or whatever the fuck, It's like you need human interaction to have fucking like to just balance out your fucking mind, man.
Well, I agree with that. I think I've probably been a little bit a contrarian just for the sport of it.
Yeah.
But I agree that, and I'm going through that right now. Like I'm awash in a sea of myself, not knowing what's going on. So I need to touch base with my own humanity. And that's through community and people and all this other stuff. And AI is certainly not going to help that. It's probably going to be the steepening of the slope.
I mean, if you decide to start talking to AI, it's just going to tell you what you want to hear, brother.
It's sycophantic as fuck. Absolutely.
Tell me I'm pretty. Dude, it's fucking
Here's
wild.
101 reasons why you're pretty.
This is 101 reasons why you're right and they are wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's all, it's a weird one, man.
Well, for the record, I'm 100% with you on all of these things, but it doesn't change the fact that it's part of the new topography.
It is. And I struggle with it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well.
And there's going to be outlying moments where you're like, fuck. Like I saw in Rogan the other day where AI had converted
50 Cent.
50 Cent's Many
Dude,
Men.
that song was so good.
Shit is fucking dope,
It's so fucking, dude, I actually been listening to it a lot. And
it's on your playlist.
It's not on my playlist.
All
but
right,
I have shown,
checking.
a lot. The thing is that like, all right, I was actually going to bring that up earlier, but the reason that I find that, what is it about that song in that way that connects us to it?
Well, you kind of already identified. Why is Thong Song not coming up, but Stairway to Heaven is? Well, you already have a predisposition to the aesthetic of that kind of rock and roll.
For certain people, right?
100%. That's totally subjective.
It's like subjective,
it's totally subjective. So, blues, guitar-based blues from the 50s and 60s from a black man is aesthetically pleasing to anybody who has a predisposition to rock and roll. It's the foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
Objectively and subjectively. And so you just change the words, and it's just fucking chord progression. It's like all pop songs are a 4-chord progression from the Beatles to fucking Cisco. Like, so AI is just like, oh, GACD. In this sound, here are the words. Here's the tenor of the voice, if you will. And that's the song.
Yeah.
But that's the creation of a song anyway.
Well, that's kind of where I'm like wondering, because like I do like that song, but I do. It's also kind of like
Dong
new.
song?
No, that was the first song that popped in my head when I thought about like the analogy to say it. But
How old were you when thong song came? Where were you in life?
I mean, I was
Were you experiencing thongs? for the
definitely.
first time?
I had already had a
I think that
plethora
was
of sex.
that happened at the same time. Like thongs became mainstream. So I was in like, I think 7th or 8th grade.
It was late '90s when Thong Song came out.
Are you sure? I think it was like 2000 or 2001.
Check it. I'm gonna go pee real quick.
I got pee so
Let's
bad.
both go pee. What was that? We were just talking about something before we walked down there, though.
When Thong Song came out and where you were when that shit came out.
Matt, you're supposed to Google that while we were gone.
Oh, no.
I turned
He had his phone out.
motorcycle. All right, let's see how fast ChatGPT can do it. When did Cisco's The Thong Song come out? February 15th, 2000.
All right. So we split it in the middle.
So I was in 7th grade, and fucking in 7th grade, all of a sudden girls are wearing thongs and like with barely like sprouted titties at that point.
7th grade. I felt like when I was in high school, so I'm 43, so I'm 6 years older than you, right? You said 38?
6. I was born in 87.
So, yeah, dude, I feel like thongs were like happening in the 90s for sure.
No, they definitely happen. But
Maybe it's when you came
no, you're right.
in contact with thongs.
Yes, I think you're right, and that's what I'm going to hedge to is that all of it. Well, it was like a cultural thing, and then all the girls like they're showing them off, like they'll fucking pull
Because the well-tell thing was going on in the 90s. That was kind of like the girls that
No, I know that. I just wasn't around for it.
Yeah, I can. It's kind of a weird flex now because it doesn't seem like that much of a flex, being that, but like I have had sex in the 90s. You know what I mean?
I have not.
So I've had sex in 3 different. But there's somebody out there that's done it in the 80s too. They're like sitting here like that has the one up, right? So it's just kind of it's a weird thing. But in regards to the music aspect and AI and all this shit, I feel like AI in general hasn't really affected the motorcycle world other than the things I've already bitched about, like people trying to use it for T-shirt designs, flyers for events, and those kind of basic things. But I feel like as a tool to help you do things like...
Well, is it going to come to motorcycle design? And if it does, is it going to replace that evocativeness? Because motorcycles, and yes, we're custom motorcycle based, where it really comes down to the art. Even if I'm having laser cut stuff, I still want to touch it up by hand to give a kind of organic shape to it. But if you fly out to the 10,000 foot view, so to speak, a custom motorcycle should have all that stuff. Is AI going to be able to design, and it's not going to be a custom bike, but like, a full production bike? I think that is coming. Even it's happening in cars, but to a different end, like Singer, not Singer Porsche, but CZINGR.
Mm-hmm.
They're using AI to design their control arms, and it looks like a totally organic structure, like a skeleton. And it's for strength to weight ratio, and it's being 3D printed out of metal, and it's the best. Like we were talking about this actually the other day. Is it Matt Darton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matt Darton. We were talking about Singer the other day, and it has a turbine, and it's smoking a Porsche GT3 from the entry of a turn to the apex. It's passing the car in a turn from the entry of the turn, and it's already passed it before the apex of the turn. and it's electric. It has a turbine. It has all these AI printed parts.
So the aspect of
But
like
that's a performance aspect, right?
the aspect of like AI solving equations to help further advancements in like the technology of things is one thing that I think that's the grand scheme of like the hope with AI. I'm sure that like everybody's not investing in AI so they can make better fucking band flyers and fucking event
they're
flyers.
investing
right?
in AI to make money.
Exactly. And that's going to come in the money is going to be made in those bigger advancements of like things like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or solving certain problems, right? That
Technology is always a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
Like manufacturing technology led to all types of tools that are in every single home today, but it also created the nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And now we all live under that.
Yeah.
You know?
So I just think that there's like an aspect of it all where I think motorcyclists in general are typically like outside of a certain barrier of society on the fringe of things because we already kind of chase a different feeling, a different experience in life that
It's
kind
the
of
best kept secret in the world.
it kind of pushes you outside like a little bit of a barrier, right? There's a lot of the world that lives within this place of like comfort and safety. And in a lot of ways we do as well, but we take this one step out of that barrier being on a motorcycle. The thrill and the excitement, it's a little bit dangerous, it's a little bit this, blah, blah, blah. And now we're a layer removed, right? And I think that gives us a little bit of a window to see things coming a little bit sooner than it like consumes us, if that makes sense. And while there's a lot of ways, obviously, that AI or like technology in general is going to help change things, the biggest changes the motorcycle world needs to grow and evolve is not technology. It's reasons to ride motorcycles.
I agree with that because this is something that is purely human experience. Riding a motorcycle and experiencing everything that you just described or all the ways that it can be described.
Yeah.
That is a human experience that is only experienced by the person with their hands on the handlebar and their butt in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
And that is incredibly pure. I think, I said a second ago that it was one of the best kept secrets in the world, but surfers experience that.
Yeah.
Downhill
skateboarders, like whatever is, whatever
especially gives you inertia sports.
Yeah.
Where you're stepping into some kind of a risk. I think the world's definitely becoming more risk averse, and it's kind of a shame. I think that's what I'm struggling with. All of a sudden I have like risk aversion and
that might be
life's. I think that's just age and knowledge, going back to the previous thing we were talking about. But it puts a damper on the lived experience. 100% risk aversion. That's no fun.
I mean, you have more to lose now. As you get older, you just acquire more things in life:
100%.
friends, family, loved ones, significant others, not others. You have more to lose, and so the risk versus reward becomes diminishing at some degree.
Yeah.
I learned the biggest lesson that I learned on my trip last summer, where I did a dream trip, 7 weeks on the road on a motorcycle, anywhere I wanted to go in America. You know what I mean? And all I did was just fantasize about my life, the one that I was so ready to leave. You know what I mean? And I'm in Crater Lake on top of this thing, sitting on the edge of a cliff, looking at this beautiful thing, thinking about my grass at home and how bad I probably need to cut it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there was a weird fucking thing to deal with or to kind of combat the perspective that pushed me to go on the trip versus while I was on the trip, what pushed me to want to be home. It was my wife, it was my kids, it was my friends at bike night, and it was the QT stop on the way to work every day to get a Monster. It's just like those things that become so monotonous that like once you get away from it, it's a funny thing in this book from Todd Bluebaugh, the Too Far Gone. There's a thing in the back of the book where it says there's a point of time when you're on the road where you might not ever come back from. So I was on the road for 7 weeks, like a little over 30 days. And they were saying in this book, like if you get out on the road for like 6 months, you know, and I would maybe ask you this from your backpacking experience. Do you come back from that, or does that become like the normal? Like, does your serotonin levels of excitement and thrill and fucking like, you know, when I think of like I think about my buddies up there and us sitting at a fucking on top of a hotel in San Juan Inn and Mexican hat drinking whiskey. And that's like one of my top 10 moments of my life of not talking about my kids and shit or my wife, but like doing stuff. And you're like, oh, well, I had this one time on the Himalayas or in Istanbul or some shit like that. Like it sets like this thing so high in your head, you know? Does it?
Yes, it does. That's actually an incredible question you just asked me, because I'm all of a sudden like asking myself, is that right or is it wrong? There was a time, and I did several trips, and if you add them all together, it was like I think I did the math once. It was like 6 years, 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
I spent outside of the country, all inside of my 20s.
Yeah.
So I spent more of my 20s outside of the country than I did in. And there was many times, pre-trip, during trip, after trip, I had written off life in this country. Not because of the country, maybe parts because of it, but written off my own experiences in life. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But to your point, I also had moments in those trips where like, no, I want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately I did. I did come back.
Yeah.
And there are times when you come back and you're like, no, I want to go back there. And it's a push and pull. And I think, one of my personal struggles right now is that I have set a very high bar for myself in so many different things. And I'm struggling to see a vision to get back to another high, or if the high is even worth it. That's tough.
The high, yeah.
You said serotonin.
Yeah, it is. It's like whatever. I always use the analogy of like an emotional roller coaster. Like, you know, those highs of feeling like all the fruits of the labor you put in puts you on top.
Everybody's experienced this. Yeah. Like, when you get married, right? Well, what's the high when you met that person? You first fall in love. You get married, and then, fast forward 20 years or whatever it is. I fucking hate this person.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
They really unpack that really well in that film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but the answer is yes. The answer is always yes. And that's just something that it's like taking ownership of your own decisions. I remember a conversation I had with my Italian roommate about, she noticed that I was struggling with something that was happening at the time. And she's like, why are you on this roller coaster? Montagna russe.
Mm-hmm.
That's roller coaster in Italian.
Sick.
And I was like, because this is where the fun is at. This is how you enjoy life, is this roller coaster. And it was late at night. We were both a little bit inebriated, and we didn't get into a fight or anything like that, but we both called each other stupid. We both apologized the next day. Difference of opinion, that's all. And she was like, no, you shouldn't do that. You should take it clean and easy and level.
I would say that's the difference between the entrepreneurial mindset and like the person that's going to get a job and, just ride out the path that's kind of laid out for you.
Well, I think that comes down to the threshold of tolerance for that person. And I've always been that person with a high tolerance for ups and downs. Mm-hmm. And now I think it's people are asking me, they're like, well, is it circumstantial? Is it age? And I think it's the amalgamation of all of these things at this particular juncture where I'm at, wherever that is, whatever that means, that you suddenly have to contend with because of your lived experience, your desires, your constraints, all these other things. But I still think it's worth it. I don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling invigorated as I speak about this. You know, we all got to come out and face another person and say it out loud and realize if it's true or not. And, that's just it.
It's a good point you said that, because I do feel that. I feel that the scary thing is that, like, it's easy to look at your ups and downs in the past and sometimes to, like, try to date yourself for the time being, like the moment. Am I on an up or down? You know what I mean? And I think that knowing that is maybe not as beneficial as just like staying focused on like whatever task is at hand. One of the things that like I've really always tried to keep in mind is, you met Corey, Main Drive Cycle at Bike Night the other week. And we did the first FXR tour. We had did this documentary that was going down that my buddy was making, and there's since been a lot of issues for it to get finished. But there's this part that Corey says in the documentary that has been released that says, we're living in the good times now. Like, now is the good time. And if you have that mentality, I think is a good way to help you not get stuck in the Confuciousness or the juxtaposition of like figuring out good or bad. Like it's kind of like I didn't ever think about the word depression until everybody in the world was talking about it. And you're like, do I have depression? And I'm like, no, but I mean, I do feel depressed sometimes. I do have anxiety sometimes, but to say that I have anxiety or I am a depressed person is a very hard thing to do. I think I experience those emotions and those feelings just like anybody else, but I don't live in them, and I think I try, I want to try to live in that gracious or gratuitous, or if that's the right word, of
live
idea.
with gratitude.
Yes.
I've learned this from other people, and I don't think that I practice it very well, but it's a hack even to realize all the things you have versus the things you don't. It's as simple as a hack as going and get physical endorphins from working out or a walk or a conversation.
Yeah.
That suddenly somehow changes your entire perspective 180 degrees away from where you were a moment before.
Yep. I mean, there's times when like sometimes I just see my wife to be like, yo, like we're good. I'm like, we are? Fuck. All right. Hell yeah. Because there's only a few people.
Shout out to the wives for that.
There's only a few people that really matter. I mean, really matter in the scheme of like, if the zombie apocalypse happened, like, hey, there's only a few people that really matter at that point to me. You know what I mean? And those, that she's there and my kids are somewhere else. And, my mom's too slow. She's not gonna be able to keep up. So I love you, Mom, but I don't know. Yeah. You ain't killing the rest of the family, for this shit. But the, those kind of perspectives is hard, and these last couple of months being glued to the shop and these bikes this is like one of my least traveled years of my life. And I didn't start traveling until my 30s, as opposed to you got to see the world in your 20s. It
flipped because I came back and I had to play catch up.
Yes. And so I feel like in a way, that's a good point. I feel like because I've been self-employed my entire adulthood, and I feel like I've gotten to have a very unique life, but I've sacrificed all those comforts that like someone that may have went to college and jumped into the workforce, or someone that has tenure at a job that has a lot of benefits now. Like, I'm at that age where like I'm 43. So the people I went to high school with, where they're at in their career when they went that path, they're in way better shape than me. But I still love my life and I still love what I've gotten to experience. So I don't look at it as like woe is me. Like, I'm looking at it like, yo, man, like I'm proud of this. My friend that did it right. I'm glad to know that exists. But man, like I don't know if I would trade what he has for what I've gotten to do and experience. And
You're
live.
right.
But
you can only be right.
Yeah.
And I feel like the right mentality to adopt if you're ever in that mode is this phrase. I love these isms because it's just a shortcut to the truth. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard not. I think we're all wired to compare. Like we need to judge or compare or measure ourselves in are we doing life right? And so the only way I can measure that is to the people that I know that started life in a similar vein that I did. I went to high school with them.
All the people that you're asking yourself, comparing yourself to, are doing the same thing and
100%.
Looking at the detractors.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
It's our human nature, and it's amplified by all the things we were talking shit about earlier.
Yeah,
technology,
I think that
social media, AI, whatever.
The difference is like if I was graduated high school in like 78 or 82 when I was born, and I'm doing my high school reunion, my 20 year in 2002, and MySpace isn't out yet. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to your high school reunion to
Did you
actually.
go to that?
I went to my 10 year. We didn't. My high school 20 year was 2020.
We were supposed to have a 5-year, a 10-year, a 15-year. None of them ever happened.
I think it killed the whole idea of it because you could see everybody on social media.
100%. I can only imagine that's the only reason why.
I watched. My high school is very diverse. Like Matt also went to a school similar out here.
So did I.
Our high school was like there was everything. There was not. It wasn't.
Same.
It wasn't like, oh, this is a predominantly white school or black school. It's like, man, like it was fucking everything. You
sound proud of that.
I am. Well, I mean, I feel like I grew up in a very open-minded world where music and culture was like a part of my everyday life where
options.
I didn't look at, the Hispanic culture that I was around as like, oh, what the fuck is that? Or the black culture or the redneck culture or any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, I was around it all. And, like in high school at the time, you just kind of had to, like adapt, whatever. And then I didn't experience high school with social media or cell phones. You know what I mean? We had beepers. You know what I'm saying? We had fucking beepers.
We had Nextels.
Yeah.
But there was no social media. I mean, I was one of the first people to gain access to Facebook because it had just launched. It was only
college,
for university.
Yeah.
And I signed up on my 3rd day of college, and everybody was like, how come you haven't signed up yet? I signed up in July before college.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, fuck that shit. But then I realized, I was kind of got to do it.
I hated Facebook when it first came out because my son's mom at the time was in college and I wasn't. So she had access to it. And it's not that I wanted to be there. It's just that I was an insecure little bitch.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see what.
And your girlfriend's getting poked.
Yeah. You're the poke. There's so many things that go into play, and it's just I'm like, I love the life that I've gotten to live and the people that I've met and have been a part of my life, whether it's for the long run or short runs or whatever the case may be. But I think that when you are selling the seas of uncertainty, then you're always going to be questioning whether or not should I cut my losses now and get a job? Should I apply this to a company for stability, to do this or do that? And sometimes the answer might be yes. It's not like I'm trying to make an argument for one side or the other. I'm in that boat right now. Like I have this shop, I have work, I have this podcast, and I think most of the world would be like, well, you have the life. And I'm like, man, I'm one bad health problem away from fucked. You know, one thing that pops up that I can't solve at a care now, you know what I'm saying? Or one thing like this is a house of cards for the most part. The skills that I have are not. That's the only thing that I've invested in that I will fucking hold up to anybody. I can shoot video, edit video, take photos, weld, custom paint, build bikes, organize events, orchestrate podcasts, create. I can do everything that I do. I have all those skills.
And the thieves will compare, but you're the only one that has to lose any of that.
Exactly. So it's a scary thing. Like you just think, okay, well, are any of these skills valuable to some other brand? You know, and that's where comparison fucks you up.
Yeah.
Because I start thinking, okay, well, you know,
started doing a bit of that and I instantly regret.
Yeah.
I mean, not regret where it's one thing if it's going right, but we're slipping into another topic. I feel like we're ending on a high note.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, we are living the life.
It is. It's a way to live life, but as anything, like you have more ownership of your day in this form or fashion, but you have more responsibility and the responsibility lies on you when things don't go well. So there is everything's a Libra scale, as today is my birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Happy birthday again, by the way.
It's a scale, right? You want more of this, you're going to lose a little bit of this. Like there is no, I want all this and all this and all that, and everything balances out. It just doesn't exist unless you're rich.
I think that's the biggest fallacy. Everybody's chasing it, but we know there's plenty of proof. These rich motherfuckers are the most miserable people.
Depends on when you got rich, and depends on the kind of person you were before you got rich.
I think there's a happy medium.
Yeah.
So says the Libra.
If you get some money at the right time in life and you're able to appreciate it, I think that it could do some
My
good.
guess is that is when you have a healthy 15 years left.
Yeah.
A healthy and mobile.
Yeah.
Healthy and mobile 15 years.
Yeah.
That's when it should be.
Yeah, that's
but you should do all the things that you want to do before then, actually. That's
the model I've been living on, and that's what I'm worried about. Can my body hold up to all my decisions and all my dream chasing before I need some kind of structure to help, whether it's like I have no health care, none of that shit, you know what I'm saying? And granted, I could find some bullshit fucking policy to, maybe, so I could say I have health care, but I don't know if it's going to do anything. You know what I mean?
I just went through that. I just canceled it because it's bullshit.
Yeah. So it's like, when I had to get my fucking teeth kind of halfway fixed, like I had to pay for that out of pocket, man. It was like 20 something grand just to get fucking fake teeth from here to here, Well,
and you could have got that half covered if you paid that 20 grand over the course of a year and the 3 prior years that you didn't use it.
Yeah. So it's just one of those deals. I look at everything like
go to Mexico or Turkey. They'll hook you up for $1,200.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing.
You have your passport now. I'm serious. It's a thing.
I see everybody going to get hair transplants in Turkey right now.
Yeah, that's the algorithm talking to you. But
is that it?
Turkey, you can go. I'm actually planning on doing this, not the hair transplant. You can go to Turkey, and it's like ranges between like $900, $1,200. It's like a 3-day thing. They do full fucking scan, not just like a CAT scan, but you'll do dental for you, gynecological, everything, pre-cancer cell screening, all this other stuff. It's like a 3-day thing. They pick you up at the airport in like a luxury car. You stay. It looks like a shopping mall, but all the stores are all the different doctors, and there's a hotel attached. It's like 3 days. Like I said, it's a couple $100. you know, like just budget $2,000. You'll find out all that stuff. Now, if you need an orthopedist because you broke your arm, you could probably go do it there, but
Yeah.
you need a little bit more immediate care. But I think that's going to be the new way of the world if the healthcare here continues to be that way. I mean, like a lot of the athletes, especially older athletes, if they don't have to worry about regulation or testing or whatever, they're going to get stem cell treatment. You can do it in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's like a 2-3 hour flight. You go there,
Yeah.
boom, done.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or BBL. I know you've been wanting that.
I heard they stink.
Do they?
I don't know. I heard. I saw something about Cardi B's stunk or something like that. So somebody broke up with her or some shit. I don't know.
What exactly stunk?
I have no idea. That was the headline. I didn't care enough to click on it and go into deeper.
Just makes it a lot to
Yeah. Just not into it.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking about a root cause analysis, but I don't think I want to be asking about that.
Oh, it's a mess. Well, all right, Chris, we gotta stop. We'll do this all night, just like we do every time we get drunk together.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out Born Free with you and doing all that stuff and seeing what you where you land in all your ideas and endeavors with how you apply all this shit to life.
Well, one thing's for certain is that I will land.
We're still young.
Yeah.